In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing for
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Red?
Gone are the days of pods and cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot.
Hey, welcome back to the show. It sounds a little bit quiet in my earphones right now, but that might just be a me problem. But let us know in the chat if you can't hear anything. This is Best Gen. It's my favorite show, a weekly show where we nerds complain about nerdy things. And the show's called Best Gen because we're all from the same generation. We happen to think it's the best, but we're very accepting of people of all ages. Doesn't matter when you were born, as long as you can acknowledge that the Macarena was pretty groovy. You're welcome to join the stream. So, today is a very special Mother's Day episode. And by that, I mean it's the same as it is every week, except that it's on Mother's Day. Hi, Mom. I don't think she watches my live streams anymore.
Need to be sure and call my mom. I don't know if my mom knows what a live stream is.
Mm-hmm. Well, my mom actually did watch all of our Wheel of Time live streams, but then she stopped watching those because I kept making penis jokes.
Like
Yeah.
Aaron Mark's sword. Oh man, I'm still happy about that one.
That one was pretty good. Well, welcome to the show. We're joined by my cousin Jared, who's still in Arizona. My brother David, who's
here.
What happened to your face?
Hey, Tanner decided to go clean shaven, and I caught something. I don't know.
I didn't decide to go clean shaven.
Yeah.
I tried to trim my beard and it came out all patchy.
Oh no!
Oh no!
So I had to take it all off. So I'm starting from scratch.
Yeah, David, with that thing on your lip, maybe saying "I caught something" isn't a smart thing to say in front of the cops. So we're also joined by my friend Tanner, who I was gonna get there, but also messed up his face.
Yep.
Today we are going to talk about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of a Madman and Moon Knight season finale. And if anyone watched it, we might talk about some Outer Range. Did anyone watch that finale?
Yep.
I did not get to finish it, but we can talk about it.
That's like the end of the show. If people are still around, we might talk about some Outer Range. But I think we gotta open up talking about Doctor Strange, right? That's the big news, the big stuff. But I do have something for Mother's Day. I want to share some pictures of my kid because I think she's the Antichrist. You gotta, it's got to be born to someone, and I think it might be my child. So here we go. This is a
So cute.
this is my little girl Savannah.
She's not happy one bit. What did you do?
This is a thing that she just started doing like within the last like 2 weeks. She hates me now. She won't do this to anyone else. It's just me. She will glare and growl at just me. This was taken just seconds after I had the audacity to say, "No, Savannah, please don't play with the Switch remote." And she stood here for 5 minutes, not moving. I took a picture 5 minutes later.
Man.
And she does it so much, she likes my reaction now, and she'll do it to make me angry. And then she'll start laughing, but she won't stop glaring at me. Here's another one where I told her she couldn't have a third banana. So that's my demon spawn. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. I didn't get anything special for Mother's Day. I'm kind of upset about that because men can have babies too now. So, how was the Multiverse of Madness?
But Alan, have you had a baby?
Yeah, I've had 2. There's a third one on the way.
Did they come out of your womb?
They came out of my wee-wee.
And this is why your mom stopped watching.
Exactly.
I think you for Alan. There's a whole day for fathers in June.
That doesn't make any sense. Can't have equality if everyone's on the same playing field. We got to prove that we're better than something, right? So, Multiverse of Madness. We watched the movie. What you guys think? I have words to say about it.
Indeed.
All
right. I'll go ahead, Tanner.
I will start with this. I didn't watch it with my wife. She got to see it for her job. So she saw it before me, and then I saw it, and my wife hated it. I think I liked it more than she did. But she was like, I absolutely hated it. Didn't make any sense. I just listed off a bunch of stuff that she hated, and I was like, okay, yeah, I had all of those same problems. I think I was able to enjoy myself in the theater, but I totally agree with all of her complaints.
Interesting.
Which is really funny, because you guys know me. I'm the pessimist here, right? And I think I've radicalized my wife. Which makes me really happy.
That's an achievement there.
She was very critical on this movie. But before I get into the specifics, I would love to hear you guys' opinions before I poison the waters.
Well, I very much liked it. I think there's a couple issues that I do have with it. I think I've narrowed it down to three major issues that I have with it.
But yeah.
But most of it, I really enjoyed it. I think it was a really good character development piece for not only Doctor Strange but also for Wanda and for Chavez. But it was really fun. I enjoyed it.
Cool. Okay.
Next.
Eric,
Jared or Tanner? Jared.
Okay, well, I liked it, but there were definitely parts where literally Amanda and I were like, wait, what? Like, that's so strange. What? Like, what is going on? Like, what? We did not know what's going on at this point. So there were definitely points in the movie where we were
Yeah.
a little lost as to what was happening. I could definitely see a little bit sort of some similar themes that happened with like the What If show, right?
Yep.
So things
Yeah.
like the Captain Marvel.
Oh yeah. Spoilers, by the way.
Oh yeah. So
We're
yeah,
talking
there
about a movie. If you haven't seen it, maybe come back and watch this on VOD.
Where's your ticker at the bottom?
I'll make one, but go on.
so yeah, there were definitely things like that where I was like, okay, it's you can see kind of where some of these universes are coming from, right? Because the idea of the whole show is basically that they're they're going through some of these multiverse um, sites. But ultimately, I think I enjoyed it, but there were a lot of questions that we had that were like, what is going on? I don't understand this. It I think that the way that they did the Scarlet Witch was pretty good. I think that there was definitely some nice moments with her and like her motivations and things like that. And so, I mean, I think there were some powerful moments in there as well. Definitely some. I also really liked. I really liked some of the things that Doctor Strange had some kind of funny, quirky moments that were good. So I enjoyed those moments. But so I think overall I enjoyed it, but there was a lot too that left me questioning what was going on.
Is that a good ticker?
Um, I saw it twice.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I made plans with Alan to go see it on Friday night, and then my brothers and my cousins were going, and then my cousin's wife couldn't go, so they hit me up and let me use a ticket to go on Thursday night.
Ooh.
And coming out the first time I saw it, the word I used to describe it was goofy. Like kind of that what was that all about kind of mentality. Like, why did they make that decision? Like there was the scene after Strange and Wanda like are first talking, and she's like, if you know if you're gonna fight against me, then I'm gonna come as the Scarlet Witch, and it's like this big dramatic moment, and it
Yeah, and
pans out.
but everyone also knows what the Scarlet Witch is. Like, she's never actually been referred to as that before.
Yeah, but it pans out, and it's like this dead field of trees with a giant like red moon in the background, like
Uh-huh.
this really scary image. And then the transition to the next scene is Wong walking through, like his head just appears, and then
Yeah.
I thought
it
that was a cool
pans out.
transition. But
I maybe it was just the influence of my brothers, but like there were kind of little goofy moments like that. I thought
Yeah.
it was like, oh, it's
I
fun.
I think the problem there with just that specific note is reshoots. There were lots of
Yeah.
there were lots of moments in this movie that were very Sam Raimi. Like I would say this is the first Marvel movie that has cinematography at all, but it's only for about half of the movie. There were significant reshoots with Sam Raimi's original cut, and you can kind of see like attention to detail, generic Marvel stuff, and it's spliced together.
that makes sense. There were a couple scenes when like America Chavez, for example, she had like a cut on her lip, and then like the next scene, the cut's missing. My wife noticed and pointed that out. So,
but it's also just like the camera angles and stuff. Like Sam Raimi sets up really good cinematography, and then Marvel just sets up shot reverse shot, like just boring stuff.
I don't know that it's fair to say it's the first Marvel movie with cinematography.
With like good cinematography. In the MCU.
I don't know.
Right,
That's
Can-
debatable.
Can you name another one that actually like tries to do something unique with the camera?
with the camera. I guess you could make the argument that it's the first where most of it is cinematographied.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I have definitely seen
Doctor
moments-
Strange 1 did an okay job of
I think
doing
Guardians of the
stuff with the
Galaxy,
camera.
Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2.
and James
Yeah,
Gunn.
James Gunn did a
James
good job.
James Gunn does some stuff too. Yeah, sure.
I think
Not
What
quite
about
as
the Thor
artsy. but-
movies?
if
Huh?
we're talking specifically about how the camera is used, like I feel like there's been one or two moments in each movie where
Yeah,
I'm like,
but
oh, that
not-
was
Right.
cool.
but not the whole movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I will give that to you. This is a lot more cinematographic.
The
I'm generalizing.
the other director I could say would be Waititi. Um,
Yeah,
But, like-
Waititi does interesting story stuff, but he doesn't
Yeah.
really do a whole lot of like in-depth cinematography. Even just watching his other movies that aren't connected to the MCU,
yeah,
like
and
like he's pretty basic when it comes to
he's-
cinematography,
he
But,
is-
and that's totally fine. You don't have to do that in a film, but
his
you know,
forte is comedy, where it's more
Yeah.
about what is being seen and said, not how it's being seen. So I don't know. I was ready to argue, but I think yeah, this had more of a director's stamp than other ones.
yeah, this one was definitely there were some like homages to horror films, and then it would just jump back to generic Marvel. So
Well, on that
it's
point
kind of
too.
it's kind of choppy.
Well, on that point too, it was just a little bit darker too. Like this one just felt like a little
It was
darker.
a lot
tone.
darker than
Yeah,
any other
like
Marvel
there were so
film.
many points where I was like, "Whoa, did I just see that in an M like a Marvel movie?"
Yeah, I'm not gonna show Elliot this one for
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah, there was a couple scenes I was like, "Oh my goodness, they did that. That was awesome." Of course, they didn't show a lot of the gore, but you get a very vivid picture that Captain Carter was cut in half.
There was one specific scene that kind of bugged me with the octopus thing
Mhm.
at the
Oh,
beginning.
the first.
There's a
Yeah.
scene where it grabs a motorcycle at like off the street, and there's a guy on the motorcycle, and then it throws the motorcycle, and the guy just disappears. It's like, well, we can't show like a guy gets splatted.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see
I
that.
thought
Didn't
I
notice
thought I
that.
remember the guy falling off the motorcycle as the octopus picks it.
Yeah, I
you saw,
think
you saw
that's
it
what
twice. I might have to.
Yeah.
That was my impression too. Is that he'd fallen off,
well,
or that like Doctor Strange had saved him, or something like that. Like as
yeah, but
he
it,
was.
it specifically didn't show it.
Yeah.
At least,
Yeah,
but
yeah, you don't see it, but like I think I saw briefly that he got like he fell or something like that.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot more darker, a lot more blood and gore, but not over the top. It's not levels of Daredevil and Punisher,
no.
but
Yeah.
but it was a lot more edgy than previous MCU films, which was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if it leaned on that even a little bit more.
Sure.
Kind of went full horror. Should have crushed. Should have crushed the guy with guts. That's just me being creepy. So he makes it out, but then like the octopus when it dies falls on him. Was that what you said? Maybe. Okay, so my impressions of the film, I was able to enjoy myself in the theater, but I was commenting the whole time, making fun of it. I had fun. After sleeping on it, it felt really hollow to me. And the problems that I had in the theater kind of just compounded, and I'm kind of sour on the film. I wasn't super impressed.
After seeing it twice, I kind of agree with that. where it was fun in the theater, and then in the second part there were moments where I was like, oh yeah, that was fun. But then I like on Saturday I had just a moment where I was like,
it just feels empty.
oh yeah, that it was done. Like,
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I thought it was still fulfilling.
Okay.
But,
well, you said you had 3 big problems, but
Yeah,
mostly
so-
just one.
No,
So-
there are three
Okay.
separate issues that I had. You want to go through
Okay.
them?
Yeah, I want to go through
So,
your issues because I
in,
have a longer list.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll see if any of mine are on your list.
Okay.
So this is going from least egregious to most egregious in my mind. Okay.
Okay.
The first issue. Okay, so they get to this alternate universe, and
The
Strange meets with the Illuminati, and we're introduced
the
to
Illumawati?
the Illumawati. Yeah,
That was the worst line of the film.
That was a
Because
bad line.
even if like this isn't the Illuminati, this is the MCU Illuminati.
right.
But
Illuminati's still a
even if he
known
hasn't
term.
heard of the MCU Illuminati, everyone has heard of the Illuminati. So his
Yeah.
the Illumawati? Me, dum dum.
Yeah, that was a pretty dumb one.
Go on.
But-
On.
So we meet.
Also, wait, pause. That was the moment I leaned over and I said, why couldn't they just make Doctor Strange British? Like, I hate that because his American accent is not good.
Oh yeah,
And there are so many points in the film where it just slips out. I'm just like, just make him British. We
They should've
like
had-
we like Bendaloon Cumbersnooch. Like, I don't. There's no reason why he needs to be American in this movie.
Yeah,
Like
at
you're,
least
you're
one of
okay
his
with
personalities.
gender swapping and race swapping characters. Just let him be British, guys. Okay, go on.
Yeah, that would have been cool to have one of his personalities be British, you know. But anyways, so we meet Charles Xavier. Okay, awesome.
That was pretty great.
reveal.
That
And we
was
meet
great.
John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is awesome, great, all right. And then there's a couple other people there, and then Wanda comes in, and they go out to fight her or stop her or whatever. And I thought it was really cool reveal how she's like, oh, this Sonic guy can end you just with one word from his mouth. And she's like, what mouth? It's just like
Uh-huh.
Twilight Zone vibes. It was great. And then he implodes his head. It was awesome. And then she just proceeds to unravel Mr. Fantastic
And no one
immediately.
does.
And they just
anything
stand there
about
and
it.
do nothing.
And
until he's gone. I'm like-
both of the characters that were remaining, one of them has a shield, and the other
Yeah.
one has projectile weapons, and she can make shields.
Yeah.
And they just stand there and watch Wanda just shred.
Yeah. It was
First
so...
off, it's a character that we've been waiting to see for
Right.
years.
Exactly.
It's a casting that people have been like fan gushing over for a super long time, and the first thing you do with the character is literally shred him to pieces, and all the girls are like,
Yeah.
It lasts like 10 seconds, and they're just
He doesn't get to do anything. Like he still could have had that same death. Just let him last in the fight.
yeah.
30
Let him
seconds
fight
at least.
Wanda
He
for a
does
little
one
bit.
little stretch and he's just obliterated into rubber noodles. It was like that was so disrespectful. And the fight scene after that was fine. And
The fight
Professor
scene was pretty
Xavier,
good. I liked the fight scene.
It,
But
it was
yeah,
great.
like,
Just
holy
why
crap.
did they have to waste John Krasinski there? I wanted to see what Mr. Fantastic could do. It was so awesome. It was exciting. People have been waiting this forever. And
makes
I
it
thought
worse
Professor
is-
Xavier did his part, and it was at least he got to do something. And it was cool how
Yeah.
she came up behind him in his mind and snapped his neck. It was cool.
At least he got to do something,
Did
yeah.
something, but John Krasinski just did one little stretch and poof, he's gone. I was like, oh, no. So
Well,
that's
what's funny is a
that's my
lot of
first
people are
reaction.
arguing that wouldn't have even killed him because his power is he can stretch around like that.
Yeah, maybe, but unless what she was doing was just deconstructing his powers
Yeah.
molecularly or something.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know.
His head pops.
Yeah, his head pops in the
But his head can stretch.
So
It popped though.
But
Like
what if it stretches?
he could have died the same way. All I'm asking is 30
Let it-
seconds
yeah.
of him trying to do something, and then she can noodle him. I don't care. It was just
She can
so
noodle him.
annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree because I liked how they brought in a bunch of alternate superheroes that they could kill off.
Yeah.
And give it was basically the same cheap trick that they used in Infinity War, which I was okay with. Right? They know that they're going to bring everyone back, and so they can use this opportunity to just like kill characters that are unkillable, like there's no way you could get away with killing Spider-Man, especially after you just got him back, and there's
Yeah.
no way you could kill the old, Black Panther, even though he's dead now. RIP, great actor, but it's basically the same thing, and I thought it worked well in both, except for the exact point that you're making. It was super disrespectful what they did to Captain, not
Mr.
Reed
Fantastic.
Richards, Mr. Fantastic, not Captain Fantastic. And I didn't like what they did to Xavier either. But I liked that he at least got to do something that
Right.
was cool and then she turns it on him.
Well,
I think it would have worked better if they didn't use Patrick Stewart. If they used James McAvoy instead. The fact that they used Patrick Stewart felt just as disrespectful to me as the John Krasinski thing, because they just snap his neck. Like, he already had a really good send off in Logan, and he's done he's done playing Xavier, and they've already tried to and bring him back just to snap his neck. I was like, come on. And this is the second time they cock tease the X-Men with the same character, and I was just like, come on, they're gonna make another dick joke.
But this isn't a tease like it was in WandaVision with his brother.
Isn't it though?
Because this is actually
basically the same thing.
No, this is actually Professor Xavier. The other one was pretending to be her brother. Bullet, or what's Wanda's brother's name?
Okay, sure.
Quicksilver.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have hated it as much if they'd have used McAvoy. But Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart's just so iconic, though. It's just I liked it.
And that the fact that he's so iconic got me upset.
I'm gonna be contrarian now.
Okay.
I like that they took him out like fun.
Yeah,
sorry.
I think it served the story well of showing how dangerous Wanda was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I going into this, because of all the fan speculation that's been going on, and I've mentioned this on the show before, as a Marvel fan, I've started to feel fatigue of speculating who's going to cameo and what's coming next and blah 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 blah.
Right.
And
because that's not the important part.
Yeah, and like, luckily, I think Spider-Man did it tastefully, and it was fun. But with this, they were like, "Oh, are we gonna get a new Wolverine? Are we gonna, blah 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 blah?" And so I like that the writer and director were able to just be like, "Okay, yeah, here's some fun cameos, but we're gonna kill them." And so I felt that the cameos were used just enough to make it, fun, but not.
Yeah, I agree. They served a purpose. I just wish they didn't disrespect those two characters.
I don't think they disrespected Professor Xavier. They definitely disrespected Mr. Fantastic. And in the comics, the Scarlet Witch is the daughter of Magneto.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and you have Patrick Stewart in the movie.
Yeah,
and he's in her brain. He said, like, I can tell you
but
about your father.
My point is, the two X-Men mutants that were the biggest threat to Charles Xavier was Phoenix Gray, Jean Grey, especially when she turned in the Dark Phoenix, and the Scarlet Witch, because of the telekinetic powers.
Oh.
But so I thought it was a great display of, like, this is how powerful Wanda is. But
Yeah.
anyways,
It made her a threat. I'm and I'm on record saying I hope that they turned Wanda. I hope that they made. I'm on record saying I hope they turn Wanda into the Vision in this.
the
The
villain.
villain.
I hope they turn Wanda into the villain in this movie. And so I'm glad that they did that. On that note, I will say it didn't quite feel justified, but that's a WandaVision problem, not a this movie problem. I don't think. But David, what were your other 2 points? Because that was your
Okay.
numero uno.
So the second issue is at the very end when Wanda is stealing America Chavez's power, and America Chavez says that she's going to show her, give her what she wants or whatever. She opens the portal and she sees her kids, right, of the same version of Wanda that she jumped into her body before. And then somehow in that one little encounter realizes that she's the villain and that these kids are scared of her because she's a monster and they'll never love her. And I just it was good, but it was not enough. She's yelling. She's like,
it wasn't anything different from what everyone had been telling her the entire movie.
And the thing was, she turned to the kid and said, "I would never hurt you. I would never hurt you." And then it pans over to Wanda, and he's like, "Oh, but she did hurt Wanda." But it was already been established she's prepared to kill this alternate Wanda and take her place. She doesn't care about other Wanda. She cares about the kids.
Yeah.
So what should have happened? This is something that could be.
She
fixed
should have
easily.
accidentally hurt them while they were fighting.
Then
it would have made sense.
"I'm not a monster. I'm not going to hurt you." And then she like burst of energy and
their
knocks
heads
one of the
explode
kids to the floor.
Yeah, that would be pretty great.
No. But, and then other Wanda runs over to them and coddles them, whatever. And then you could have the same moment where she comes over to her and she's just like, "What?"
And it would have made more sense.
And it would have been fine. It just it didn't feel earned.
The status quo was not changed at all.
Exactly.
And she flipped at the end for not justification.
And it was fine that she flipped. It's just the justification for her flipping just didn't.
I 100% agree with you.
And so that's my second biggest issue.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just I didn't like the two kids in the movie. They weren't good.
Yeah, kids are the worst.
Maybe I just don't. Maybe the tone of WandaVision and what they were giving to work with was like better. But yeah, when you said it wasn't enough just to have her say that, I wonder if the original plan was to have her kill the kids.
Maybe.
And
that's
there is a completely different version of this movie.
So that was one way that I would have done it. Or the other way, when the kids were like, if I would have done this, when the kids see her like freaking out, and then America would be like, "See," then Wanda would be like, "Well, there's an infinite number of them." Like I would have had.
That would be good.
Start looking for, be like, I'll find another world because you ruined my plan, and then
And then she says they're all gonna be like this. You can't change. You can't force your way into their lives. You're not their mother.
Or like isolate her and like.
Maybe I can sneak my way into their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right. That could have worked too. They could have went that avenue. It just didn't
on
feel
the same vein. Before we go to your third point, I want to talk about her turn to villainous to villainry. That's a word. Her turn to villainry, and how it didn't feel justified to me, and how it could have been fixed without like changing anything. Like really, I hated WandaVision because the show pretended like she was the hero of the story when she was 100% the villain. torturing kids and an entire town for like a month, right? Just so because she has the big sad. It is. I hated it so much. An easy way to fix it is already written into the script of WandaVision. It was Agatha all along, which is the dumbest reveal because she didn't do anything.
Exactly.
All Agatha does is she shows up and says, hey, there's a disturbance here. I'm going to hang out and see what it is. And then at the end of the show, it was Agatha all along. I killed a cat. That's basically all she did.
Yep.
It was a dog.
Oh, it was a dog. Sorry.
That's my main issue with the show too.
Okay. But you could have made it Agatha all along. Okay? You could have had Agatha using Wanda's grief to manipulate her into using the Darkhold to do all this evil stuff.
Exactly.
And then it would have been and you wouldn't even have to make any changes, right? You could have structurally it would have been the same thing and it would have been better. If she's I see she's in this grief. He's like, well, there's a way you can bring them back. Subtly manipulating her into using the Darkhold and to doing this stuff, bringing her kiddos to existence, and then it all crumbles apart at the end. And then Agatha actually has a point at the end of the show. She actually serves a purpose because even though she's lost the fight, you can see that it's corrupted Wanda into searching out her kids and using the Darkhold without her anyway. And she's like, I lose, but I still win. Like, that was my whole point, was to get this Darkhold thing to corrupt her. That would have made the show so much better. And it would have made this movie better, because even though I love that they actually turned her into the villain, because of how much I hated WandaVision, it kind of made it better that they turned her into the villain, but it still didn't feel justified enough. In this, she was just like, I want my kids, so I'm willing to literally do like a genocide, right? Like she kills all of the Chinese people. The Shangri-La, what do they call the Sorcerer Supreme Palace?
Armitage or something.
The Taj Mahals.
That's a callback.
Yeah. That was my favorite one, by the way. out of all of Jared's buildings, the Taj Mahal was the best. I think in this movie they could have made it a little bit more apparent, because the answer is the reason she's willing to go to such extremes is because the Darkhold has corrupted her, right? That's what the movie tries to say, but It really didn't come across that way. It came across as, I just want my kids, and I'm just becoming a horrible, horrible monster to get my kids. Right. They should have had little like whispers, right? She's like, oh, come save us, come, we want, like have the Darkhold, show the Darkhold corrupting her. Other than just saying it, oh, it's corrupted her. No, it's really not. Wanda is not actually the bad person here. She's just being manipulated.
And that actually, I don't think they were thinking this far ahead, but that actually would set up some interconnectivity, because
right,
that's what the villain in Shang-Chi was doing. It was an evil bad dragon that was pretending to be a loved one to get her, and so you could be setting. I like that they're really shifting away from it's a lot less sci-fi and a lot more like supernatural fantasy that they're going with these people. And it would have been cool, like that people would be speculating like, oh, so was the villain in Shang-Chi like the same dark force from the Darkhold that was like causing things? And that would have been good.
Yeah.
Martina says that I'm right. So
you are indeed right. That would have made it a lot better.
Yeah. The whole thing would have had more depth and more weight and justification. And then her redemption at the end, we would have actually cared about, because like, oh, she's finally overcome this corruption. But her redemption at the end feels super hollow because nothing has changed. She just finally decided to listen. It's like, oh, I am terrible, and then kills herself. Like, right? Yeah. But think about it. If she wasn't 100% in control, like if the Darkhold is using her grief to manipulate her into doing these evil things, at the end when she kills herself, like that's like make you cry type of moment, because it's like it's a sacrifice. She's like, look, I know that I've become corrupted now, and I will kill myself to save the world. The way that it plays out in the movie is, I know I've been a horrible bee, and I'm just gonna go out with a bang.
Yeah.
It makes everything better. What's your third point, David?
Okay, so my third point was something that watching it in the theater I thought was stupid. Immediately I picked it out. I'm like, that was just really dumb. But the more I thought about it, no.
Okay.
The more I thought about it, the more it just really irked me that they thought that this was okay.
Okay.
And it's because they tried to write it off as a joke. Okay. And so what I'm talking about is Bruce Campbell's cameo.
Oh, yes.
They go to this alternate world. America Chavez picks up these pizza balls. And sorry, I'm going to get on a soapbox here, and you're just going to have to let me speak, because this is really bothering me. Okay. She gets these pizza balls.
And then she says capitalism is evil.
Sure. But
right.
But yeah, she says, so, this is free. I don't have to pay for it. Right. And then he says, actually, you have to pay for it. You haven't paid for it. And
then they beat the crap out of a random innocent guy.
Exactly. What did he do wrong?
They just robbed.
She was stealing from him, and he had the audacity to ask to be paid for the food that he was legally tendering in the street.
Yeah.
And it just boggles my mind that they thought that was okay, that he could be assaulted, and they just wrote it off as a joke. And it came back in the post credit.
Is it going to wear off in like 10 minutes? No, it's going to wear off in like 10 hours. He said. How long?
3 weeks.
It was
3 weeks.
Yeah. And
what?
Then did you guys stick around to the post credit scene?
Yeah.
It's over. It's finally over.
It's like, oh my gosh, it was just so infuriating that they think that's okay. And I think it's just a testament, I guess, to the state of Hollywood and the state of the world right now. They
genuinely did think that it was okay, though. The writers.
Exactly. And that just boggles my mind. And it could have been fixed with just a couple things. He could have conjured up some money and said, cool out. Here's your money. And then he could have been, because
But instead of telling America Chavez that she's wrong,
exactly.
Beats the crap out of an innocent guy.
Let me see. There's two different ways I think they could have fixed this very easily. He could have conjured some money, said, here you go. And then he's seen a Doctor Strange in his universe before. He's like, no, I'm not taking your trick money or whatever. And he grabs her and he's like, you got to pay or something. And he's like, get your hands off of that girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe shove him down.
Maybe that would be justified at that point. Okay. If he physically assaulted her. Okay.
But
and the other thing,
not for 3 weeks.
Exactly. Not for 3 weeks. But then the other thing is maybe like, oh, sorry, we don't have any money. Here's the food back. And he doesn't want anything to do that. He doesn't accept it. And the same thing. He tries to physically assault them. But he doesn't do anything wrong. He just asked to be paid for the money for the food that they're stealing. Yeah, it's just, oh my gosh, it pissed me off so much.
The fact that this whole scene is set up with America Chavez being smart and be like, wait, you guys have to pay for food in your world? In most places, people have just accepted communism and everything's a commune and food is free. I'm like, communism has never worked. It's never stable. It always ends in death and decay. So yeah, I hated that too.
Yeah, it's just a little thing, and the reason why it's my number one issue is because they wrote it off as a joke and thought it was okay. And
it's like it's okay to use violence if people annoy you.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. That's the state of the world. That's Chris Rock and Will Smith, right?
Oh yeah, same thing.
Words
it's the
words
same.
Do not justify
systemic
violence.
Issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect testament to the state of Hollywood right now. That's their mentality. They don't think anything's wrong with that. If someone's doing something you don't like, you can go assault them. No, that's not okay. I'm sorry. I'm done.
No, I hated that.
I'm off my soapbox. That's my number one issue. Everything else about the movie I liked.
That, but
yeah,
definitely, at least in superhero, I've heard people kind of comment on this that, you know, they prefer the violence in like Daredevil and Punisher because when someone gets punched, their nose starts bleeding. And in kind of these toned down PG-13 movies, you get the punches and everything, but then kids don't see the effects of the violence.
You
And
get Black Widow falling a mile and being okay.
Yeah. So it being unrealistic aside, that some people question, you know, what are we telling the kids seeing these movies? Like, if you hit someone, it's just it's a cool thing, it's a cool punch, and
it's a joke.
Yeah, or it's a joke.
Tanner, are you arguing video games cause violence? Is this your argument right now?
I'm arguing if you don't teach. I'm arguing if you are the type of parent that puts your kid down on the iPod and turns on Doctor Strange.
Okay.
The kid's gonna say, "Oh, it's okay for." But if you see a movie or play a game with your kid, and then you say, "Hey," but you see them like reenacting what they saw, you tell them, "Hey, that's pretend. It's not real." If you teach your kids the right way, then it's going to be all right. But, like, I think you're right, David. That they really missed the mark on that joke. Yeah. I think a bit where
they actually thought it was funny though.
Well, I think the thing is kind of I like what Tanner you're saying because it's goes back to the idea I think that there's consequences to your actions, right? And like you've got to be aware of your consequences and how that affects other people, right? Because even the guy hitting himself for 3 weeks, like that's an excessive consequence for what they were
for
doing,
a mistake
right?
they made.
Yeah, right. And so yeah, I think this is a really interesting conversation because it's essentially neglecting the consequences for one's actions, right? And that's the problem that Tanner's trying to point out.
It's even worse than that. It's saying like there aren't consequences to your actions and you're justified in not in shoving them away.
Yeah, right. And that's what this is. I think that's why maybe I like Spider-Man a bit more is I will give props to the writers of the Spider-Man MCU films is that the problems in those movies are because of Peter's actions. They're the consequences.
Yeah.
And I think, and then he takes responsibility.
It's almost like with great power comes great responsibility or something like that.
I was going to say a bit where I think violence was okay in Far From Home when Peter accidentally calls a drone strike on.
Peter gets bloody in that movie. Peter gets beat up.
Yeah. So he accidentally calls a drone strike, and then he's trying to get the glasses on and fix it.
Yeah.
And Flash is like, "Oh, let me see." And Peter tries to get it, and then the bus shift, and he accidentally slaps Flash.
Yeah.
But he's so strong it knocks him out. That's good use of
that's a good way to do a comedy
because he was trying to save everybody. He wasn't punching him to be a jerk.
An accident. I think that
he didn't call a drone strike on Flash for 3 weeks after that.
Yeah. I get in the first one why they made him arrogant and then he had to humble himself to do it. But it feels like he still kept a lot of the arrogance in this film. And I don't really like that. I went back to, I got a kind of a compendium of the origin of Doctor Strange in the comics, the original publications of the character.
Yeah.
And he's a lot more serious and oh, the magic is, important. And
yeah, they have to make everyone quippy at the MCU.
Yeah, I think they need to. I think they got to focus on just making
good characters.
Yeah, original, unique characters.
Yeah, this movie is a regression of his character. Doctor Strange 1 is magnificent. It's a great morality play, um, and it shows you that he was a dick, and it's the entire movie is his redemption story.
Yeah.
It's him learning to put other people in front of him, and then that arc is just compounded with Infinity War. Even at the end of that movie, he submits himself to an eternity of torture to save everyone on the planet, right? And then Endgame, he's willing to die for the greater good. And then in this one, he's willing to punch a guy for 3 weeks who wanted his money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought the rest of it, that part aside, was really good. I thought it was a good continuation of his character arc, and I thought they played really good on the tropes of finding happiness and
all right,
personal responsibility.
You want me to destroy your world?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I have lots of problems with the movie. And going off of that thought, I think my biggest problem with this movie is it doesn't feel like a Doctor Strange movie. It was more about Wanda and America Chavez than it was about Doctor Strange. To prove my point, what is America Chavez's story arc? What's her character arc?
She doesn't know how to use her powers.
And then she learns how to use her powers. What is Wanda's story arc? Character arc, sorry.
She wants to find her children and then realizes that she's a villain.
And then ultimately redeems herself. What is Doctor Strange's character arc?
He's struggling with his role as a hero, how he is making all these sacrifices to save the world, and he's not personally happy in his life. So he's finding his place in there, and
that's the exact same at the beginning and the end.
Sure, but he realizes at the end that perhaps there may be some happiness for him.
I'll make this argument. There's the recurring motif of Christine saying, "You always have to be the one holding the knife."
I hate that line. Go on.
But that's also repeated in when Wong shows up, and there's the joke about, it's custom to bow to the Sorcerer Supreme. Mm-hmm. Stephen doesn't do that because he thinks he knows better and he would be a better Sorcerer Supreme.
And at the end, he bows to him.
The alternate Doctor Strange thought, America can't control the powers. I will have to take it to keep it safe.
But that's not the main character's story arc.
Right, but he still struggles with that same thing. He's like, I'm going to protect the girl. Oh, no, I got to have to take her powers. And then he realizes that, no, I've got to support her and help her use her powers.
He ultimately makes the decision, I'm going to let someone else be the ultimate hero, save the day. He takes his hand off and lets America Chavez finish it.
Okay. Another thing too is he's struggling to. He's always been the one that always does what it takes, whatever that is, to win. Right? He faces Dormammu for eternities. He looks into the future and sees the possibility of them beating Thanos, and he makes that sacrifice. He was dusted for years, right?
Yeah.
He's always done that, and the same thing here is like, what am I going to do to defeat Wanda Maximoff? My only option right now, I can't use the Book of Ashanti anymore. I've got to use the Darkhold, and that's the same trap that the other Stephen Stranges fall into. And he's like, I don't want to be this person, but the
only solution is to let someone else be the hero of his story.
I don't think that. I think he was still very much.
I
America
think
Chavez wasn't the hero of the story. America Chavez was a glorified MacGuffin the entire time.
Yeah,
She
and I
did
hated her.
absolutely nothing but make portals. Okay, I was afraid that they were going to sideline Stephen Strange, and
I
America
felt-
Chavez is going to be
I
this big
felt like
OP
he was
character that
sidelined.
does everything.
Yeah.
I don't think he was sidelined at all. It was still very much all about him. All of the story beats
but-
that were happening to Chavez and all the story beats that happened to Wanda
Yeah.
also applied internally to the struggles that Stephen Strange was going through. And I thought it was wonderful.
I don't know. The fact that we're really struggling to define what his story arc was is kind of
Tanner, I just gave you 3 examples of his progression.
I think Alan's argument is that a good character arc is a simple and straightforward character arc, and we did have to talk circles to explain it. Whereas,
like it was a lot of justifying, like, oh well,
with
this is if you
America-
put these pieces together, that's his story arc, right? Like he's in the movie, okay, he does stuff, but he doesn't make a lot of decisions. Every time he shows up, he has no clue what to do, and he says, well, I guess I'll find someone who can help me. So he goes to Wanda Maximoff. That's his first thing. He doesn't have any ideas of his own. He goes to the villain. And then he goes to a new universe. Well, I'm stupid. I don't know what to do, so I'm going to go find me. Right? And then he does it twice. Well, I'm going to go find me because I don't have any ideas. Right? And at the end, he's not actually making any proactive decisions. The one thing that he does is use the Darkhold. He kills 3 golems. And then he doesn't even fight the villain. She fights herself, and then America Chavez punches her while he's laying on the ground as a zombie. Like, it wasn't really his movie.
No, I don't know. I disagree.
Well, if the character arc is him learning to let go of control, and
that's fine. That's fine. I just think that that's a bad character arc.
I don't think
the line that, oh, you always have to be the one to hold the knife, like, that's so, he was the one to fall on the sword for everyone else. That's the opposite of what he was.
I think it goes back to more of his relationship with her, right? Like, always like wanting to, right? Because the Doctor Strange at the end too was like, that's what drove him crazy, is that he had gone through all the other universes trying to find a universe where he was happy and where he was with her, right? And so I hate
that too.
Well, yeah,
I hate that too. They turned Doctor Strange into a cuck in his own movie. It opens with his girlfriend getting married to someone else, right? And then the next scene is Wong rubbing it in his face that he's not the Sorcerer Supreme. And then when he gets to the new universe, they go out of their way to say literally every version of your character is a danger to the world and you're stupid. I'm just like, why does this? I felt like the movie hated him as a character.
And that's what he had to overcome, and I feel like he did that in the end.
I didn't enjoy it.
Well, the other thing too, though, is I think that the other one, basically, they're saying that he was a danger to it because I know, right?
It's just,
but he was basically a danger because he was. He started to kind of put off. He started to be more prideful, right, and doing his own thing rather than focusing on the better good.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
think
what caused
that
him
was
to
a
be the
bad
danger.
choice because that's historically not what he's done. That's what I get that was the point of this movie, and I think that was a bad point to make because he's never been like that.
But that's what I'm getting to is I think the point they're trying to make is that this particular Doctor Strange in this universe is different than the other ones, right? So he's different than all the other ones because he's focusing on other people and he's not focusing on himself. That's why he was able to use the book in this one, is because he did it differently, because he is different than all the other Doctor Stranges in all the other universes. So that's what I was getting, is that essentially it's because he was different and he had his sights and his focus was on other people, that's what made him happy, right? Is he was
Okay.
happy serving
That-
other
and-
people.
And
That's
also,
that's
that's
what
the
he had
best
to do.
explanation, Jared. That's the best explanation that I've heard.
that's exactly what Chatter and I were saying. Come on.
He put it in a much better way.
Okay,
You're
sure.
welcome.
It was very
still-
eloquent, Jared.
I
Thank
still
you very much.
do not like it, but like that is the best way of putting it. Of like that would somehow make it okay. I think it was a bad way to go, but it fine.
I don't know. I liked it, and also at the very end, he finally found a version of it's not Peggy. What's her name? Rachel. That
Rachel
stood by
McAdams?
his side. Stood by his side and helped him. Even though she might not have agreed with everything that he wanted to do.
I love that he just sends her back to her world where everyone's dead.
Yeah.
And there's not like, hey, maybe come back with me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
her version of Stephen Strange is
all
dead
of her
too.
work, like everyone at her work is murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't
go
have
back
two.
to her job.
You can't have two of those the same people in the same universe. So
You-
obviously, going back,
You
to
make
his
an
universe would work.
incursion
Yes.
if she went someplace else, which is why she had to go back.
Yeah. Maybe that's what the incursion was at the post-credit scene.
I was just gonna say that though.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that. Shoot.
Maybe he paid her another visit. Hey, Chavez, can you open a portal? I got a booty call.
Oh man.
Nicely done, Jared. You mansplained the men.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Good night, Martina, if you're going to bed. Okay. The other thing I hated is when he shows up to talk to Wanda. It's justifying the stupid choices in WandaVision when she says, "Oh, I knew that this would come eventually. You'd come and talk to me about the horrific thing that I did." And his response is, "No, I don't even care about that. You made everything good at the end, and people will never know what you sacrificed, and that was never in question." I was like, "What? I was questioning that the whole time."
Yeah.
I hated that line.
I thought you would.
Because everyone was questioning that. And that was never in question. You were never actually the villain. And then he's proved wrong immediately because she's the villain.
I agree, but if he was skeptical, it would have diminished the reveal that
Okay.
she was putting up all this.
Okay. I did not like America Chavez. I thought she was really stupid. And apparently, no one ever told her the words, "You can do this." Like the finale was just, hang in there, bud. Like, and she all of a sudden tries. And this is the first time. And then she punches Wanda. That bugged me. And then
Well,
her
hold on with
stupid
that.
line about how food is free in every universe.
Okay, here's the thing though with that, like, her story arc, from what it sounded like, is
also
that I think no. I'm interrupted real quick. But basically, I think it was interesting because it wasn't necessarily that line that like changed her to have the powers, right? I think that what changed her was
his decision to not kill her.
No.
Not take
Was
her
the
powers.
decision
but-
well, I mean, that's part of it too, right? Because he's different, like we just talked about. But
Right.
the fact that she didn't realize that it wasn't just random, right? I think because Dr. Strange specifically pointed out, he's like,
"Oh,
look,
okay.
we didn't just randomly go through these spaces. You put us exactly where we needed to be so that we could grow along the path, right?"
Still, like, it shows that she's never actually tried to figure her powers out.
Well, because
we don't know that.
She says that I've never been able to control it.
Sure, but that doesn't say that she's never tried to control it. You think she just opened a portal and sucked out her two moms and she's just left there and she doesn't try to get her back?
She gets scared by a bee and kills her mom.
Hold on. They're not dead. They're not dead. I mean,
should
they
have been
may
like
not be
raiders on their village or something, like ransacking the place and but yeah, it was a little silly.
Yeah, that's fine. It's still just a really silly conclusion. like I'll push harder. I don't. It was dumb. I didn't like it. And, the memory store, man, that was the dumbest thing in this movie. The memory store,
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't the only one that thought that was.
stupid.
Yeah.
First of all, who would want that displayed to
Yeah,
everybody
right. You know, you're
around
just
in
walking
public
down the
square?
Oh gosh,
That would be terrible if you were like thinking about like
that
something,
time,
you know, that time you were
sex,
trying
know.
to, yeah, or so. I didn't know how dirty
Hey,
we were.
those are some of the best memories. That's what's gonna pop
Yeah.
up.
And you accidentally step on it, and then it's like we've got your memories, and then it comes up, and then you just uh-oh. That would be bad. It was a
Yeah.
very cheap way of putting some
It
emotional
was just
stuff into.
forced exposition. Yeah. And it was a way to bring up the watch so that could be like a MacGuffin later on for the that's another problem. Like Doctor Strange doesn't solve any of his problems. Like the solutions are just handed to him because he goes and talks to himself or someone else. Like everyone else was making decisions around Doctor Strange, and he only made one decision at the end of the movie.
But he was still the catalyst for all that. He
I
never
know,
said,
but he
"Hey,
was,
I don't have a plan." He went to go get help because they're in over their heads. They're facing the greatest threat that they don't know.
It still felt like Doctor Strange wasn't making any choices until the very end. He makes one.
I disagree.
Which is the silly thing to do in a Doctor Strange movie. But we've already talked about it. You guys disagree with me. That's fine. Let's move on to other points that I hated. America Chavez. Why is the fact that Doctor Strange doesn't know Spanish a reason to insult him?
Yeah.
She's like, este güey no habla español, like este pendejo, like this freaking idiot doesn't have the audacity to learn a different language. Like he's learning magic, like he's got other things to learn than Spanish.
That the other Doctor Strange that she already met knew Spanish.
Yeah,
so she was kind of like, wait, you don't know Spanish?
But she used the opportunity to just slap the main character again. It's just a list of things that they just like beat the main character with. But why does America Chavez know Spanish? Like, so there's only one America Chavez. She's born in like the Utopia universe. That's how it works in the comics. But like, why is that Spanish? And why does she have two moms? And why would that, like, she's in this like futuristic universe, but she's dressed, like a modern like liberal with her like pride pin. I'm just like, where did she get all these clothes? Like, how does she know all these customs? Like her shirt says love is love, amor is amor.
Because she's been traveling the multiverse,
but she hasn't been in control of it. I don't know. It just felt kind of strange that she was like this super modern thing, but she's from this like futuristic society. It felt a little disconnected to me.
She said she went to 73 different universes,
and one was paint. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the paint that shot with them going through a bunch was a really cool shot in the paint universe, but it ends with a universe where people are chopped up into cubes. What is that universe?
I have no idea.
What was? I'm more interested in that one.
Maybe
than
it's
the paint
a cubism.
Universe. Why is there a universe where people are cubes? I don't know.
It could have been just a transition between universes. They had different transitions. One was like breaking through glass and going through water and whatever.
I also really disliked that they called the MCU universe Earth 616. That is no. That's the comic universe. The cinematic universe is different. It is not 616. It was the writers saying, we're doing a better job than everyone before us.
Well, they started with the 616 back in Spider-Man: Far From Home. Mysterio refers to it as.
Oh, they did.
Did he?
I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
well, I hated it then too, I guess.
But that is it's a terrible marketing idea because like you could make an arrangement in the comics to like use the likeness of the MCU characters to like come into a comic book story.
Yeah.
Like in the Spider-Verse comic storyline, there's a throwaway gag where two Spider-Men are talking, and they're like, "Yo, I thought I saw a Spider-Man that looks like that actor from Seabiscuit," and I saw a Spider-Man that looked like the kid from The Social Network, and they're talking Tobey Maguire.
they could make
Yeah.
they could make comic books based on the MCU, but it's a different thing.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be called 616. That's stupid.
You're right. That's something that didn't really bother me, but it was a missed opportunity. You're absolutely right, because
Yeah.
the comics could have been their own thing that's a legit in canon universe, but just the different universe.
Also, like we've already gone over like everyone hating Doctor Strange, but like in the scene after Wanda has already killed everyone, and Rachel McAdams meets back up with Doctor Strange, her first line is, "But how can I trust you?" I'm like, what? Do you have any other choice right now? You
Yeah.
can trust him or get killed by Wanda. And then them running through the tunnel, and she's blasting through the doors, but then they close another door, and then they stop.
Yeah.
Maybe this next door is gonna stop her, and then she just teleports. And that was dumb,
that part
dumb,
was
dumb,
really
dumb.
weird.
Yeah, that was one of those questionable moments that we were like, what is going on?
Why does the Darkhold exist in every universe, but there's only one instance of the Bright release? I don't know what it was called.
Book of
The
Vishanti.
opposite, the
Book of Vishanti.
Vishanti, the opposite. There's only one of those.
Because he put the Book of Ashanti in the realm between.
Okay, but
multiverses.
why wouldn't there be a Book of Ashanti in every world so that it could be put in? Doesn't make sense.
Wibbly wobbly?
Mordo is
Multiversey.
absolutely wasted. And this goes back to a problem in Doctor Strange 1. This is the only problem. Doctor Strange 1 is a really good movie, and the only problem that I have with it is this. It's he has the conversation with the old Sorcerer Supreme as she's dying, and it's this great scene where its time is slowed down, right? And you get the lightning, and she has this huge conversation with him. He's like, look, you've been arrogant your whole life. And the whole arc was like, you need to learn to work as a team. And she literally says the line, if you do not learn to work with Mordo to go to this final battle, if you don't work together, you will lose. And then they show up to the last battle with Mordo, and Mordo does nothing. And Doctor Strange goes off and does like, they wasted him in that movie. But then they set up Mordo as this villain, and then the version that we finally get to see of him as the bad guy isn't even the same one in this movie. It's an alternate, and so like I really hate that they wasted him as a villain, because I think he's cool, he's one of my favorite actors of all time. Did a great job in Serenity as the bad guy. Ooh, what a creeper! He makes a good bad guy. He's completely wasted. But it's funny, like that's just comparing the two. I was thinking of like, that is my only problem with Doctor Strange, but I have like just a plethora of problems with this new Doctor Strange movie. It just like shows the huge decline in quality in writing. I
think they're kind of unsure who their focal point is going to be.
Yeah,
because it used to be, it was very clear the Avengers are the big crossover movies, but now they have to one up Endgame and Infinity War, and so they're going the multiverse route. But like, is it Doctor Strange with the magic that can make the multiverse happen? Is it Spider-Man because he's the most popular character? Their storytelling across the films is not as tight.
Yeah. They also don't know how to connect their TV shows and their movies.
Yeah.
Because
that's a problem.
Because the multiverse has been set up 6 times now in 6 different franchises, and none of them have anything to do with each other.
Well, Kevin
why
Feige...
wasn't Vision in this movie? Vision could have showed up and like, Wanda, you've got to stop, and then she like kills him or something, and then like
Yeah.
And Mordo
That-
wasn't in this, and Loki could have been in this because he was the one that I thought set up the multiverse, but then they haven't addressed it at all because they had to readdress it in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man
So-
set up the multiverse, but then they didn't address that at all either. And then so this they have to do it again. Like, when does the multiverse start? I don't understand.
Exactly. It is a little bit confusing, and I wish they'd established it more in the movies. But
Like they
what's
could have
his
brought.
bucket? Kevin Feige has gone on record in an interview on the red carpet and said that the moment that kicked off the multiverse is in Loki when they killed the man at the end of time or whatever.
Is
and
it though?
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said. But I agree with you. It's not been
I get
clear.
that he said that,
He
but
said
that
he set it off, and that is what allowed the spell to go wrong in Spider-Man.
Okay, then
And the
say
further
that,
shenanigans
like-
in this movie. And I agree. They should have made it more clear that all of this is happening because of Loki and female Loki killing Kang the Conqueror at the end of time, or whatever the he who remains at the end of time.
Yeah. And then I have two more points. It was so there was the movie tried to set up like prisa, that's Spanish. Tension and like what's the word in English? Haste. That's not the right one to use, but it tried to set up that, hey, we need to be doing this fast, and then every time they'd get to where like they would slow, they stopped.
They just
and waited
stop
for
to
them.
a walk and like,
They-
let's just
they-
walk to the sanctum.
He gets
Yeah.
to the book and just like, I can just take my time now. I'm not even going to close the door behind me, right? Like, and he just
Yeah.
walks up and lets it get destroyed. Like there were so many moments with like run, come on. And then my last point was, I think, the dumbest thing that they did in this movie when he meets bad Doctor Strange. And he says, "How can I trust you? Tell me something only we would know."
Yeah. And then he tells him something that
That's
may be
not
different.
how multiverses work. It's a different him.
Yeah.
He might not have even had a sister that died.
Yep. Amanda and I thought the very same thing.
It's like
Yeah.
these people. It's genuinely done. It's stupid writing. Like these people are trying to write about a subject matter, but they're just too dumb to be able to write it well.
Right. And again, that's something that could be easily fixed. He could have said, tell
Right.
me something I would only know, whatever. And
Tell me
his
something
response,
I would only feel. Maybe That's the way to do
his
it.
response should be, "This is the multiverse we're talking about.
Yeah.
Something that I know is not something that you know." And he's like, "Now I know I can trust you," or something like that. Now I know that you're Doctor Strange because you understand the multiverse.
Oh gosh,
You're right.
that scene, I was just like, "You've got to be kidding me! That's not how any of this works."
Yeah,
Oh.
you're right. I thought the same thing too, and I forgot about it.
Have we talked about the sacrifice of coherency for moments in film?
Not on. I don't think we've talked about it on this show, but that's a thing that happens. Yes.
Yeah, like I think I'm trying to think of like a good example of like
Zack
Brandon-
Snyder.
Okay, yeah, Zack Snyder is a very like
Zack Snyder is really good at making, like taking a page from a comic book and putting it on screen and making it look awesome. The story that he uses to get there is kind of bad, but
Yes.
he makes really good moments. You cannot deny Zack Snyder
Yeah.
makes awesome freaking moments
so
at the cost of storytelling and the
yeah.
Yeah.
This is where my English teacher bias is going to come out. This is where books are better because writers take the time to say, "Okay," they have more time than a movie to establish this is
Yeah.
how this magic, this is how this alternate universe works. This is what people think about the world. This is how things happen, and it makes more sense. And I wish there was a little bit more of that in the movies we're seeing. I mean, Raised by Wolves is a good example. Like, there's obviously certain things that are to come to pass, but it's not like, oh, it would be cool if I really liked Alien, so I want to have a snake come
Fight
out
an
of somewhere.
alien. Yeah,
Like, no, that's a part of the story. It's not.
it's set up.
Yes,
It's
it's not
earned.
just.
It's earned. The moments are earned.
Yeah,
And in a lot of the MCU, they're not earned. They have moments, but they don't make sense. It's kind of the same thing as when we're doing improv. You don't do one-liners because it sacrifices the integrity of the scene to make a joke, and it breaks the scene.
yeah. So Doctor Strange being like, our sister died. She fell through the roof. It's like you wanted to have give him some backstory. Like, no, come on. Like,
also, that's the same backstory as Moon Knight. Okay. I think that was it. Oh shoot! I remembered another point while you were talking, and then I forgot it.
well, I'll give
music fight.
Yes, that I was gonna say.
What was okay?
No,
It
I
looked
like that.
awesome. The
I
sound
loved
design
every
was
minute
cool.
of that.
Looked great. Why? What?
Okay, this is what
it?
this is
It
what I was thinking
so
about.
good.
What?
Because I think I remember in
Why?
the first one, in the first Doctor Strange, doesn't he play piano?
I think
so.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a shot of him trying to play with his post-surgery fingers.
Okay, but
Right.
that means that
I don't remember. I need to watch it again.
the key is mightier than the sword. Or?
Yeah, no, I don't know why that's the only reason why I thought that they might pull that in is that he saw the music and he's like, oh, I can use this to
This
somehow.
is the perfect example of
And
what
it was
Tanner
kind
was
of paying
just saying.
homage to that.
This is the perfect example of what Tanner was. It was really cool.
It
Made
was.
no sense.
Yep.
No, but
was
that's what Doctor Strange is. He's weird. He does weird, crazy, awesome things. One of my issues with magic in movies is when it just turns into, oh, throw the other guy across the room. You know, I love Lord of the Rings, but oh my gosh, the fight between Gandalf and Saruman, they're just using their staves to throw each other across.
No,
That is
a great fight scene. When he's spinning him on the floor.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is my favorite moment of any fight scene.
When he's spinning him on the floor, that's really, really awesome. But essentially, all he's doing is just like, go there, go just slamming each other across the room. I hate it when magic devolves into that. And I wish there would be like throwing fireballs at each other and doing stuff. So I loved that moment in Doctor Strange where he's like, I don't have any weapons. Oh, I've got this music here. I'm going to turn the music into weapons. That's such a Doctor Strange thing to do. And I loved every minute of it. It was so wonderful.
And
I think it was a political statement because, the left has been saying that words are violence. And
Shut up. Now music is violence. You're so stupid.
Go Tanner.
I also have that problem. I think this is why I don't like the Harry Potter films, is because it just turns into, like, in the books, at least with the kids, it's like
it turns into a shootout with Avada Kedavra. It's the pew 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 pew.
Avada Kedavra versus Expelliarmus.
With the exception being Gandalf and Voldemort fighting in the Ministry of Magic.
Yes.
That fight scene
and the fire that Dumbledore conjures in the cave with the little corpse demon things or whatever. That was cool.
So they sacrifice, and what also kills me is, like, the whole thing is like you're at magic school and you're learning new spells, and like over the course of the series of books, the students put different spells into their repertoire and they do different things. But then it's just lights and sound effects and them like shooting at each other. And also, sorry, this really bugs me because they did it in The Secrets of Dumbledore.
Tanner, that's what the show's for.
Grindelwald and Dumbledore.
They touch tips.
They do.
Shut up!
What are you doing? God. What are you doing, Tanner? What is this?
This is wands. They're their wands.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. So they do the little connecting thing That only happens between Voldemort and Harry because their
Yeah,
wands
because
have
they're-
the
yeah.
same cores.
I haven't seen that one yet, but that makes me mad.
But
Yeah.
they sacrificed the rules for the thing. But I liked the music because it was
I loved the scene. It
was
was really
unique
cool.
it was a unique thing that you can do in a movie with video and audio simultaneously.
Yeah.
And hearing it, like, I guarantee, like, unless you have a surround sound system, you're not going to get the effect that you got in the theater. Because when I was in
Yeah.
the theater,
It's
oh man,
going
there's
all
a,
around. It was good.
yeah, it goes all through it.
No.
And
I
there's a
loved it.
moment where he like gets hit by a spell and he's like split into like 5 different shadow versions of it. And there's like a little scream off to one side that is like so unique in a speaker. Both times in the theater, I looked over thinking someone in the theater was yelling.
Nice.
So like it is so well done.
Yeah.
And I accredit the creativity and I give him that, even though it was kind of like, whoa, this is out of nowhere. Like it was a good out of nowhere. And I can
Yeah.
get, it was like,
I saved this comment for last because
Thank you, Tanner.
it bugs me a lot less than everything else in the movie.
yeah.
Right? Because I liked the scene. It was cool. It was innovative. I just didn't make sense to me. Maybe there's some way they could have
That's what
justified
Doctor
it.
Strange is. He doesn't make sense.
But
I mean-
But he's
I
awesome.
missed. Martina made an amazing joke about the
Be there, be
Chop
square.
about-
The square universe.
the chop
cubes.
people into cubes universe. Be not there or be square. That was a great joke.
Well done, honey.
And yes, as I put my fingers up, I realized that's why I left them up so long. Because I realized Dumbledore, Grindelwald, they had a wand fight.
Oh boy. Mm.
But yeah, that music scene, I was like, yes, I'm teaching a film
was cool.
analysis class next year, and like
That's a good scene.
I'm gonna take the students to see a movie in the theater because there's something magical about going to the theater when it's a good movie.
It really is a
And the
different
sound
experience.
design and the visuals are planned for that environment.
Yeah.
Dune in theaters, like
Yeah.
ooh, I can't wait for Dune Part 2. I think that was my best theater experience since like watching The Phantom Menace as a kid, you know, like which in hindsight is not the best Star Wars movie, but man, when I was a
But the
kid,
experience
Well, as a kid,
is.
it's fun.
I mean, you know.
when Darth Maul has a lightsaber and then 2 lightsabers. Woo, boy! Oh,
It's
That was-
completely impractical, but you know what? It was super cool.
oh gosh, that moment,
Yeah.
like just. Okay.
And also, pod racing is awesome.
I love
Heck
pod racing.
yes.
Okay, I think we've got a little off subject here, though.
Well,
Anyways.
I think I'm done talking about Doctor Strange. Like, I enjoyed myself in the theater, but it really just feels hollow. My wife hated it, and it's funny.
I don't know.
That
I-
she just did not like it at all.
I still enjoyed it overall. I think I understand your criticisms, but I don't know. I still think it was very much a good character-driven film for.
Yes, I just don't think that Doctor
Doctor
Strange
Strange.
was that character.
No, whatever. But
I am agreeing with you, David.
all right.
I think my final thought on it is I wish there would have been more magic, less multiverse.
Oh yeah, yeah. Why is it called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Magic? In the multi, I'm not doing well today. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. There's just 2 verses.
Technically 3.
Okay, no, but that third one isn't really. It's 2 that blew up, and so it's not either. It's like an ending universe.
So 2.5?
2 and I don't know. Unless you count the one scene where they travel through like 15 in a second.
Yeah, I think people will come away disappointed from, the multi, like,
It was not a multiverse movie. Like
I think
Sure, it was. So was Spider-Man not a multiverse movie because you only had 3 Spider-Man?
That's
There's
a great
3
point.
universes here.
That's a great point. And
you just
and I
opened the
think-
can of worms, David.
I think that's a good segue. Let me find
no.
it.
Oh no.
You've triggered my trap card. Here we go. You guys ready for some Screen Rats bad takes?
Let's do it. It's overdue, baby.
It's overdue. Give me a second, because I am just not on point today. We're gonna do some Screen Rants bad takes.
Screen Rants. Bad takes.
Is Doctor Strange 2 a better MCU multiverse movie than No Way Home? No Way Home had 3 verses. Doctor Strange had 2. No Way Home is the winner.
They had 3. We just discussed this.
It had 2.5. 2.5, David.
It had 2.5 plus a whole bunch of 16th universes.
We
they were in for
got
a
more.
split
We got more verses in Spider-Man than we did in the multiverse movie, baby.
Unless you're talking about Enter the Spider-Verse, then yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the best multiverse movie.
That's the best multiverse movie, hands down.
Let's just talk about Spider-Verse on this show, man. So freaking good. Okay, but that's just a good way to segue, because this is what's dumb. No Way Home makes Spider-Man a bigger multiverse character than the Avengers. Yeah,
Yes.
because the
wasn't a-
Avengers haven't done a multiverse yet. Good job, Screen Rant.
I don't
I mean-
think they're going to. I don't think there's going to be any more Avengers movies, right?
Not for a while. They got to set up the new Avengers.
Yeah,
Well, they're doing the Young Avengers,
the Young Avengers, but it's
and
not going to be.
the Dark Avengers, right?
I don't know.
Well, that's what they're setting up with Captain Not America and
Captain Carter.
and Captain Not Black Widow and other Loki and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
I think technically in Endgame, when the Avengers time travel, it's explained it's actually multiversal jumping.
Is it
Is
though?
Not it doesn't.
No.
It's not what we know as multiverse, but the Ancient One and Hulk have that conversation where, like, if you take, the stone from here,
Yeah,
it's
then
gonna-
it starts
Yeah.
a new branch.
But then in Loki, they said
then
that
they
time travel was
prune it.
supposed to happen. It was part of the sacred timeline.
Yeah,
that was
and they-
chosen.
they
So it
close
was one
the loop.
verse. I don't know.
So I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but you guys just
You
countered
don't-
my points.
You don't have to. Tanner. You don't have to give Screen Rat the benefit of the doubt. Okay.
It's a good point, Tanner. Good point. But they're still wrong.
Here's a good one though. Stephen King's Pennywise prequel must avoid It Chapter 2's biggest mistake. What is with these Pennywise articles that are grammatically incorrect? What's it trying to say? It must avoid its second chapter's biggest mistake. I don't get it.
Yeah,
if anyone
the
can explain this,
if the prequel is not out yet, then how can the second?
how can it avoid it? How I don't.
The second chapter hasn't been made.
I did. I don't
hasn't been
understand.
made.
I don't understand Screen Rat.
You're so dumb.
This is a side note. You guys want to know? I think America Chavez is a dumb character, but
It's a really dumb name. That's for sure.
why did they bring her into the movies at all? Marvel keeps saying that she's a super popular character. Who wants to guess how many comics they've made about her? Okay, sorry. The longest running. So they've rebooted her several times because they keep trying to get her to be interesting and work, and it doesn't. And so they keep having to try again. What's the longest run you think she's ever had?
2 years, which would be 24 issues.
Any other guesses?
I think that's as good a guess as any.
1 year. Let's go 6 months.
I'll go 18 months.
I think Jared's the closest. So
Really?
yeah, so she's been in a couple. The couple America Chavez lasted 5 issues. The longest one she's ever been in is America, and it lasted 12 issues.
Oh my
if
gosh.
you go to see all, 12. It got
I was
canceled.
gonna say a year. Shoot. Okay.
Yeah. So like even it's just she's just not a super interesting character, but they had to put her into the Doctor Strange movie. Even though she doesn't make money, she's even been in like a different runs where she's not the main character, and even those runs have gone like 5 issues and they're canceled. Like
Kate
anything
Bishop.
she's appeared in gets canceled. So, this is the same one. This is Kate Bishop appears in her comic. Vengeance was like 5. This one I believe was 6 or something, but pretty okay. Back to some bad takes. Here we go. Why is Wong still Sorcerer Supreme?
Oh yeah, that's
Is he
another
still
that's
alive?
another thing that I thought was strange. So Wong's a Sorcerer Supreme because he dusted, right? And
Yeah.
so Wong got the
Became
mantle or
Sorcerer
whatever.
Supreme while he was gone,
But-
but then he came back.
And Stephen Strange is not like recognizing his authority, right? But then when Wanda comes up, they're like, you must be careful not to choose the right words or whatever. And then he says, so no pressure then. And I thought he was gonna say, okay, you're Sorcerer Supreme, you go talk to her, but he goes and talks to her. I'm like, that could have been a funny moment. He's like, yeah, no pressure then. Go ahead, Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, it's the movie hates him. The movie hates Doctor Strange. So
Well,
I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
Do you agree with that take then?
I didn't read it because I've
Just
got
read the
I've got
title?
too many other bad takes. I just read the title. I wanted to talk about it. Marvel should kill Iron Man's MCU return for good. You already killed him,
yeah,
and
when was that
they've
written?
already planned
8
and
hours
started.
ago?
They've already planned and started producing Ironheart, which is the girl Iron Man who's going to replace him in the Young Avengers. He's not coming back.
Yeah.
Okay? Can we why are you writing this article?
So then they can, when it happens, they can say, see, I told you.
See, we told you should have killed him off for
Told you.
good.
They did what we suggested.
Stupid.
Yep.
Bad take. Why Jessica Jones casting David Tennant as Kilgrave was secretly genius.
No secret about it.
It's not a secret.
It was just genius.
It was a good call.
David
And he
Tennant
did-
is a
and he
great,
did a good-
fantastic, phenomenal actor.
He's a good actor, and he acted good in the show, and it was cool to see him as a bad guy. That's not a secret. Also, old news.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Yeah. What's with the? Aren't you supposed to be farming
I
fresh content?
I
Screen
don't
Rant?
know, David. I don't know.
No, I swear, you get random things like this, and it's just their employees were like, I watched this over the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna type it up. So
No,
Jessica
that's
Jones
exactly-
is on Disney Plus now, and so their writer was
That's true. They just
Yeah.
put him on Disney Plus, so it is still kind of relevant.
It was
Yeah.
secretly genius.
Yeah.
No one knew that he did a good job. Iron Man is officially over his famous MCU romance.
Because he's
Because-
dead.
Dead.
The reason is because in the comics, Iron Man is dating someone else.
this is my least.
Okay,
Uh,
that's not the MCU.
Yeah.
The MCU is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You are it's literally baiting people to say, "Oh, it's the thing that you complain about, Tanner." I know what you're going to say already. Okay?
I
It's
hate this.
it's coming up with a crazy, ridiculous title that happened in a one-off comic and trying to connect it to the MCU because that's all because people watch the MCU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what gets the views. This has nothing to do with the MCU. This is the Marvel comic universe. So call it something like the MCU. Okay? Is there a shorthand? It's just called the Marvel Universe, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Marvel universe.
The MU.
Yeah.
Well, it's just
Come
referred
on, we
to
need
as-
some disambiguation, okay?
Yeah.
Call it
Marvel's-
the MCU and the MCU, but don't call them both the MCU.
It's just referred to as the Marvel Universe
Yeah.
in the comics. But since the movies were, connected, they
But
called it-
in Iron Man number 19, Iron Man's not dating Pepper Potts anymore. So that means he's officially over his MCU romance.
Oh, come on. While the Iron Man and Guardians of the Galaxy movies were still coming out, there was a comic where Iron Man slept with Gamora. So like
this article
This
would be
is
the
not-
same.
Breaking news! Iron Man in the MCU cheats on Pepper Potts with Gamora
Exactly.
in the comics.
This would be the same as saying when Amazing Spider-Man came out that, Spider-Man is officially over his crush, Mary Jane Watson, because she's not in the film. And
Yeah.
Gwen Stacy is the love interest.
Yep.
It's so stupid.
Well, here's another one. Iron Man could have survived MCU's Endgame with his secret healing factor that's only in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the MCU. I hate these people. So, but in Iron Man Volume 4, number 1, he has a heal in it. Yeah. So moving on. Moon Knight and new Sorcerer Supreme are doing what the Avengers can't, like make bad movies. Spoiler alert. I did not like the Moon Knight finale. We're going to talk about that later. Okay, here's the good one. Here's the good one. You guys.
Oh, no. Not another one of these.
No, it's not. It's not. It's
She's
different.
a
It's different.
Paladin.
You guys play. You guys like D&D? You guys want to cosplay as Wonder Woman
We
in
did
Dungeons
this
and
last
Dragons?
week.
Well, we have an in-depth guide how to play Wonder Woman in Dungeons and Dragons. You can start as a paladin. But if you don't want to be a
did
paladin, you
this.
could be a fighter.
No.
If you don't want to be a fighter, you could be a paladin. And if you don't want to be a paladin, you could be a cleric.
So they literally wrote another article
Yes!
saying, hey, this is how you make a D&D paladin Wonder Woman. And they say that you should be a paladin in there?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. David, you'll love this. They finally did cast the new Doctor Who.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
It's
Really?
not clickbait anymore. So this guy Nakuti Gatwa, I don't know.
nailed it.
Nakuti Gatwa is the new Doctor Who, and Screen Rant wrote this amazing article that shows us where we can find all of the things he's been in, which is stage plays and Sex Education. That's a TV show on Netflix. That's it.
Oh, okay, cool.
So cool.
Cool.
I don't have anything against the casting. He's just, why write an article about what he's been in if he hasn't been in anything?
And like you can look this up on IMDb
Right?
without all the extra words.
Yeah. Well, no, because his screenplays are not going to be in IMDb.
Yeah.
Because those aren't movies.
Well,
it's an internet movie database.
He was
Tanner.
in Horrible Histories, the movie Rotten Romans, which is something that we've all heard of. And
Oh yeah, I watched that every weekend with my homies.
Stone Mouth.
That's
And-
that's some British stuff there.
Yeah.
Interesting. He's finally cast. We can stop writing those dumb articles. I don't know if it's even they're bringing Russell T Davies back too
That's
to
a
be the
good sign.
showrunner. I don't think it's enough to save the show.
I think you're right.
I watched one episode with the female Doctor Who, and it was so woke and boring that I haven't watched any of it since then.
She did have some
and I've
decent episodes.
I liked it.
I watched Doctor Who all the time.
Dude, I think you introduced me to it.
I did. I introduced you to it. I introduced
Yeah.
David to it.
Yes,
I did.
You to it. No,
Shut up,
no,
David.
no.
I'm the one
You-
that showed you Doctor
You
Who.
caught some random episode with Dad years ago and never watched it again. I was the one that reintroduced you to it, and you said, "Oh yeah, that's that show I watched a long time ago. That was kind of cool."
That is not true at all. I used to.
100% true.
I introduced my entire family to it. I introduced a lot of
No.
people to Doctor Who, and I haven't watched it in years.
Yeah, I've watched all of them since.
Yeah, she did have some interesting episodes.
Yeah, I liked them.
But most of
Alright.
it just suffered from really, really poor writing. Jodie Whittaker's a fine actress.
She's
They
a great
really,
actress.
They really did her wrong because her version of the Doctor is completely uninteresting. Her companions
It's
don't
well,
have
this-
any character at all. They have certain character flaws that they've written into them to try and be interesting that only manifest at certain convenient points in the plot. It's just
Chris
was
Chibnall
really bad.
did a horrible job taking up the mantle from not who was after Russell T Davies. It was
Stephen Moffat.
Stephen Moffat. Stephen Moffat did an okay job. Wasn't as good as Russell T Davies. A lot of people had problems with Stephen Moffat as a showrunner. I didn't mind it as much. I kind of liked the last Doctor that he kind of fell in the same problem as Jodie Whittaker to me. Like I liked him as the Doctor. The episodes really dropped in quality though. So it was the writing that was the problem, not him.
Yeah.
But I really liked Matt Smith. Really, obviously, David Tennant was great, and Eccleston was good for this one season we got him. I'm kind of in the mood to rewatch Doctor Who, except that I don't know if I could ever watch the newest episodes. But
yeah, I haven't watched the current season because they took it off all streaming platforms unless you pay for BritBox now.
Yeah, because that's a smart way to promote your show is to make it impossible for people to pay you money to watch it.
Yeah. But,
yeah.
So I haven't watched the last season, but she did have some good episodes that I actually did enjoy. But
Okay.
There was only a handful of them, which is sad. Sorry.
We got some more bad takes, though, baby. Indiana Jones needs to clear up one huge Crystal Skull plot hole. Or
How did he survive in a fridge?
Or, alternatively, you could not address it at all. Moving on. Tanner, you watched King of the Hill, right?
Yeah.
I know nothing about King of the Hill. Never watched it. I'm not invested in it. I'm assuming this is a bad take.
Yeah. I don't.
After over a decade has passed since King of the Hill's cancellation, if the reboot killed off Hank, it could help the reverted series to flourish once again. Are they remaking King of the Hill?
I didn't hear anything about this.
It's okay. There is the upcoming reboot of King of the Hill should make the decision to kill off Hank.
No, that'd be like
that
killing
wouldn't
off
be
Homer
King of the Hill, right? He's
Simpson.
the main. He's the dad.
Yeah,
This.
that'd be
So
like
it
killing
wouldn't
off.
be King of the Hill anymore.
No, it'd be
Getting
like
rid
killing
of
off-
a main character, getting rid of the main character will give this series the necessary revamp that is long overdue by completely changing it into a different series.
Yep.
and he's such a good character. Like people like.
All
there's-
I know is that Pocket Sand, which is hilarious.
Like there are some wacky characters, but Hank is kind of the middle of it.
He's the catalyst, right?
Right. He's got his wacky friends, and
I have an idea.
So essentially,
let's do a remake of The Simpsons, but let's kill Homer Simpson.
that would be what
In
you're
episode
doing.
1.
exactly.
And let's make it not about The Simpsons. Let's
Or-
make it about a poo. the whole time.
So essentially, what they're
The whole
saying
show.
is we shouldn't reboot the show. We should do a spin-off instead.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're saying because it's not the same show if it
Yeah.
doesn't have the same characters.
What is this?
That's terrible.
Do you want to even read their
Yeah.
justification? I don't.
I would assume they want Bobby's character to be.
Yeah. Okay.
But the whole thing
they want
is
to pass the torch to Bobby.
no, you don't need this legacy stuff. If the
A
voice,
grown up, they want a grown up Bobby.
you
what
still have Hank be the main character, and then because
It
most
could work if he had a ghost dad.
sure.
Throwing
That's also a
uh,
bad take,
throwing
Alan.
pocket ghosts.
Or
in.
memories. They could do memories.
So
Let's
a lot of
make a Batman show, but let's kill off Batman and yeah, they already did do that, didn't they? Yeah.
like most of the comedy comes from each of these characters have their own like obsessions, and
Hank
it's
is the foil.
yeah, and Hank is like the foil, and then there's the odd episode where there's a great episode where Bobby tries a burger that was cooked on a charcoal grill, and he loves it so much that he starts like sneaking the food, like almost like it's like he's in his room like eating it under the blanket, and then Hank walks in and sees him doing it, and it's like walking in on your kid watching porn, and like
He's hiding hamburgers.
yeah, but it's this big deal because Hank is so obsessed with propane, and so like you can't. He's the center of the whole show. You can't take him out of it. It wouldn't work. I don't think these people get comedy.
No, they don't. They think that beating up an innocent man who wanted to get paid for his work is funny.
Yeah.
King of the Hill is a fun show. I highly recommend it, and I think it's on Hulu. So
yeah, I might give it a shot. I like Bob's Burgers.
Ooh, that's
You mentioned that this show has burgers in it.
yes, occasionally.
That's enough for me.
It's a good
Burgers, the gateway
background
drug
show.
to animated TV shows.
Oh, I'm so excited! Like,
Are you excited for the movie?
so
Can I watch it if I'm not caught up? Because I only
Yeah.
got through like 3 seasons and then they took it off Netflix
All-
and then it's
all
on
you
Hulu,
need-
but I haven't gotten back into it yet.
it's gonna have all you need to know is
The characters.
they're poor.
Yeah.
Bob is trying hard. His family is weird.
Those
and
are the
that
through
gets in
lines
the way
that never
sometimes.
change.
Wait,
Yeah.
are they seriously making a movie?
Yeah,
It
they're
comes out
doing a
this
Bob's
month.
Burgers movie.
Really?
And
I freaking love that show.
I saw the trailer, and I was
looked
like,
funny,
and
yeah.
May was coming up, and I was like, oh yeah, Bob's Burger movie. And then there was a moment I remembered, like, wait, Doctor Strange is supposed to come out in May too. And I was more excited for Bob's Burgers than Doctor Strange, just because I love the show.
It's a good show. I need to get back into it and finish it.
It's great.
Yeah, it's good.
So, okay, here's another bad take. Reasons why the Kardashians isn't as good as Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Well, I can give you one reason right off the bat. You gender swapped Bruce Jenner's character. Okay, I am so sick and tired of these Hollywood liberal elites coming in and remaking shows with no respect for the source material. You guys like that joke?
That could be a Babylon Bee article.
Oh, Alan.
That was good.
Wait. So who's playing Jenner then?
Some lady named Caitlyn Jenner.
Oh, that's weird.
She's
Never
a
heard of
woman
her.
now. Gosh, I used to love Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and I won't be watching the remake. Okay.
I saw KUWTK, and I thought that was like a local radio station.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I would rather listen to
KUWTK.
local radio than.
Except for they're always only 4. But yeah, that's hilarious.
Okay. So the Wheel of Time, all the clues that Rand was the Dragon Reborn in the show.
Wait, there weren't any. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Right?
Wheel of Time Rand reveal didn't come out of nowhere, except that it did because they didn't set it up well. Here's every clue that in the show that said that he was the dragon. He was the dragon. He pushed a door. That means he's the dragon.
Well,
There was the dragon mount scene where he said he remembered dragon mount. That's a clue to his heritage. That doesn't mean he's the Dragon Reborn, because in the show they tossed that out of the at that point out of the books, and it could have been anyone, not necessarily someone who's born on Dragonmount. Rand's Aiel heritage. Oh yeah, they hinted at that, but once again, that wasn't a delineation for who could have been the Dragon Reborn, because they threw that out in the TV show. Logain's laugh was a point in the books, but in the show, they specifically made him actually laughing at Matt and showed that as a sign of Matt's corruption from the Shatter Logoth dagger. And Rand didn't see Logain laughing at all. So that's not in the books. That's what it was. In the TV show, it wasn't. And the Battle of Dragonmount is another thing about his heritage, which wasn't relevant in the TV show to who could have been the Dragon Reborn. And then the scene where he protected Egwene in the ways, which they only showed you was Rand doing it
in the flashback.
In the episode where they reveal that Rand is the Dragon Reborn. Those are all the clues, everybody!
Well
done, Screen Rant.
Getting through the door in the book was one of the signs, right?
No. In
wasn't?
the book, he channels, calls down lightning, and blows up an entire inn.
Right. It wasn't just he shoved it over. I remember...
And it's an amazing point in the books. And in the show, he pushed down heavy door.
I forgot that it was...
He's strong.
Like, he lightninged his way out.
Yeah, he blows up an entire inn.
Yeah. Hey, no offense, guys. I know you guys were really hyped because you love the Wheel of Time, but this show sucked.
It
was
It
boring.
It wasn't very good.
Did you finally get around to watching the finale?
No.
Then you don't have an opinion, Tanner.
Yeah.
Shut your hole. Yeah, it was bad.
It was not a good show.
I had a really hard time talking about it with you guys because it wasn't good.
And
it's so sad.
Like no one's watching it either. Like I will show you I got one more article, and then I'm showing you some disappointing stuff. I couldn't, unfortunately, I searched, and they did not write an article about the Wheel of Time season 2 coming out in May. So they switched to the Reacher season 2 because apparently they watched my show and they realized someone caught on. So Reacher season 2 is not coming out in May 2022, guys. Sorry if you thought that was coming out. Because they just announced this week that they're doing movies now instead of it. They signed on to make 3 Reacher movies instead of a TV show. So I don't even know what this is saying, but that's disappointing. So Wheel of Time. So they just made this announcement last week. At Jordan, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago at Jordan Con, I might have missed it, announcing, we already talked about the casting of a Eula Smart as Avienda and how I think that is a terrible choice because it completely changes a very important storyline in the books. But Jared, you don't agree with me quite as much. It doesn't bother you as much. It bothers me a lot. But this is huge news. And like this video with the casting got like 1,000 views. It also got ratioed. A lot of people agree with me that the casting is really stupid.
Wait, you can still see dislikes?
Yeah, you have to widget.
It's a free Chrome extension.
Oh, I'm getting that now.
Yes, I will link it in the description of this video. Man, taking away the dislike number was the stupidest. Okay, but like this was the official announcement at Jordan Con. It's got 10,000 views.
Yeah, that's not not a good sign for the show. People aren't watching it. Tanner, you're a normie. You didn't finish watching it.
Yeah.
That is not a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
And the trailer was freaking awesome. I was so hyped for this show. But it
had some really good things going for it, but it wasn't good. It didn't come together. Also,
they made the announcement about her casting in this video, and it's ratioed pretty hard. So I'm not in the minority. Jared, you're wrong. Shut up. Wheel of Time is dying.
I don't even remember what points I had against.
Oh, I don't like that they cast a black woman as an Aiel. because they're all gingers.
Oh, yeah,
Put
yeah.
a wig on her.
And it changes
I
the
gotta-
story.
I gotta
It's
admit, I'm
very
coming
important.
around.
It's very important to the plot that all of the Aiel are gingers because it has to do with Rand's heritage. And Avienda is supposed to look like Rand's cousin. She's described as looking like his cousin in the books. And Rand is a white ginger, and she's black. I don't even mind that she doesn't have the same hair color because you can fix that. But unless you
Yeah, I
want to
was gonna
put
say.
like white face on her, it's not going to make sense. So, Tanner, you had a point.
You guys watch Epic Rap Battles of History?
I
Used
haven't
to.
seen him in a while.
Okay, so there's one between George R.R. Martin and J.R.R. Tolkien. And
I don't think I've seen that one.
Tolkien
That's a
says
funny one.
Tolkien says the genre's called fantasy. It's meant to be unrealistic, you myopic manatee. To finish the rhyme. But like I get the desire for representation in media.
No, like, and
But-
that's not the point I'm making at all. But go on.
But it's a fantasy world. It is not our world. There
Yeah.
are going to be customs and rituals and ideas that are not congruous with the real world.
That's
There is a whole race of ginger people in this world. That's what it is. And
Yes.
and like you don't have
that's my
to-
problem with the Lord of the Rings TV show when we're talking about casting black elves and dwarves, when there are races in Tolkien's universe in the Middle Earth, there are races of dark-skinned people, but they're not elves and they're not dwarves. And we talked about it originally about how we want to be casting as colorblind and you want to have this, like, that's not the issue. The reason they've said the reason that they did it, they said we cast these people of color in Lord of the Rings in prominent roles because we want the TV show to reflect our current world. But it should be reflecting Tolkien's world.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to a YA book series, Children of Blood and Bone, by an
That's not
African-
Shadow and Bone.
No,
That's different? Okay.
different one.
It's Bones. I get confused.
I know. But an African American author who wrote a fantasy world based on African.
Oh, that's the one that Jason started reading, right?
Possibly. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. I'm
But like in that world, it's all black people.
Great.
And it's good.
I would be
and-
equally upset if they made an adaptation of that and cast a bunch of white people.
Yeah. So like we need just let people be creative. Like, isn't Brandon Sanderson's maybe I just imagine them as all white, but like his characters in The Way of Kings aren't just like there's some different diversity there.
There's lots of different races.
Yeah, that doesn't line up with humans. Like Kaladin is like it says he has like tan olive skin.
There's light eyes is one of the
Yeah.
races. It's like the noble race. They literally have different colored skin and different colored eyes. Only nobility has like all of the peasants have like brown eyes and stuff.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I'm reading Shadow of the Conqueror, and he does the same thing. He's got these different races, and they have like crazy colors of hair. It's like, oh, this race has purple hair, and darker skin and stuff, and that's just that's cool.
And bringing it back to the Wheel of Time, they've already changed the race of a bunch of the other characters in the Wheel of Time, and it doesn't bother me as much, right? It makes less sense in the world building wise because if you're talking about the main characters from Emmons Field, they kind of shot themselves in the foot there, but it didn't bother me quite as much. They were all supposed to look similar, and Rand was the only one who looked different from their whole village, and that's why he stood out like a sore thumb, because he's not from their village. Spoilers, okay? But they with the casting of the show, they decided to cast a bunch of different colored people, which is fine. That was a tiny point. It didn't bother me as much. But with Avienda, it's literally a plot point in the books that changes how the story is going to play out now if they don't all look the same. Like, I don't. You can do it to any other character except Avienda. But
Yep, and it's the same thing with the casting for the new upcoming Snow White film, right?
there's actually
It's-
a ginger side happening in Hollywood. This is not the
Yeah.
first ginger character that's been replaced by someone black. Yes,
Yeah, no, I
but
am
like this
aware.
is not this. Everyone's saying she has red hair, guys. I'm like, that's not red hair. She's got dreadlocks.
Yeah,
Black people don't have red hair. But I'm upset.
and they could put a wig on her, and that would fix part of
Yes.
it. But yeah, you're right. If she's supposed to look like
they're
Rand,
going to have to
it
give
doesn't
her
make sense.
white face to make
Yeah.
it make sense, and that would be equally insulting. They did this in The Witcher. Actually, I don't know if you know this, Jared. Season 1, the Triss is one of the characters.
Yeah.
They cast a lady of color as her. She's a ginger.
Yeah.
And she has like curly, like very traditional, like African American hair in season 1, and people got mad at it. So for season 2, they dyed her hair and literally gave her white face.
Really?
They lightened the color of her skin so she would be more book accurate in season 2, and they did the same thing with the Elf Queen. They changed her to be more white because they miscast both of them.
Yeah, it's sad. It was a little surprising when I saw it the first time.
And lightening people's. Sorry, Jared, I cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
Lightening black people's skin in popular media has been a problem that people complain about too.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's just as bad. Just don't make the problem for yourself in the first place. Okay. Well, those are all the bad takes. The rest of these are interesting takes. Okay. And Screenwrite actually had an interesting article. Apparently, there is a director's cut of Revenge of the Sith that's 4 hours long that could have made it much better. What do you guys think? Making that movie longer, would it make it better? I think it's the better. I think of the prequels, I think it's the strongest one. Where it fails is Anakin's transformation to the dark side kind of comes out of nowhere.
Agreed.
Which I've been told in the novelization is much better because they have more time. I think I would be down.
Yeah, I think they could definitely fix a lot of that.
I would watch it. I would watch a 4 hour.
He just kind of like snapped. He was like, "Okay, I'm the dark side now," and that's something that I was looking forward to with the Clone Wars TV show, to see more of that transition.
And they don't address it in that either.
It's the same thing. He's like, he's good until the very, very end, and he starts showing signs. It's like, come on, guys.
I would be interested in this. Release the Ayer cut for Suicide Squad and release the 4 hour Lucas cut, Revenge of the Sith. Like, what the worst that could happen? You make more money.
Yeah,
I want to see this stuff. Okay, and here is some hope. This article is awesome. Sony loses millions after rejecting China's demand to remove the Statue of Liberty from Spider-Man No Way Home.
I saw that.
Wow.
I was not
way to go,
that.
Sony.
Finally.
Way to go. John Cena has the audacity to accidentally call Taiwan a country and then has to make a video groveling and apologizing to China so that China will let them watch Fast and the Furious 27. Way to go. This makes me want to go see Morbius in theaters. And I don't want to see Morbius in theaters, but I want to support Sony right now because damn, this is awesome.
Buy a PlayStation.
Yeah, there you go. That's a better way to support Sony.
That's a good.
Well said.
product that
Well
Sony
said,
made.
Tanner. No, Sony needs to not make any whatever Venom verse thing they're doing. The first Venom was surprisingly fun. I enjoyed it. I was like, I don't know how they're going to do Venom without Spider-Man, and they pulled it off. It was fun. The other ones don't look so good.
Go buy No Way Home.
Okay, I'll do
That's to
Go
to
buy
support.
No Way Home or go buy a PS5 or a PS4 and play the Spider-Man game.
But
That
seriously,
was good stuff.
like,
Yeah. And
good
like,
job.
Yeah.
oh, Mark,
we talked about it already, Mark.
okay, so my beard was getting shaggy, and I was meaning to go to the barber, but I never had the chance.
So you
and
did it
then-
yourself.
So I tried to trim it up, and it just came out so patchy that I was like, man, this looks terrible. So I had to shave it all off. So give me a month, and I'll be back to full on beard because I'm planning on growing it back.
But
But
seriously,
yeah, I feel so naked with my face. I feel
seriously, way to go, Sony. I'm giving them another cheer because awesome. Good job.
but also
Good job, Sony.
Go ahead, Tim.
that would be so that's impossible.
That would be impossible
to change to take the Statue of Liberty out.
Right. But also it wasn't really the Statue of Liberty anymore. They were renovating it and replacing the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. With
the statue,
Avengers statue or whatever.
maybe there was a scene before where it did have the Statue of Liberty. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a Captain America statue. It's not a Statue of Liberty.
In more awesome news,
I have one of those for my kid, and oh my gosh, it is so good.
Someone modded a Fisher-Price controller
Oh no.
to actually work and play Elden Ring. You are a man. You are a god amongst men, my friend. What's his name? This Rudism. Never heard of him before, but like, I will try and link to everything this man has in this video description because you are doing God's work. Look at this.
I mean, it can't be harder than doing it on a dance pad, though. There are people that do it on DDR dance pads.
Okay. But do you know how he gets the camera movement working?
No clue.
Because there's only one joystick.
Yeah.
You have to toggle the joystick.
Oh no.
With
the
this,
purple.
No. The yellow button.
Oh no.
I don't have the sound enabled right now. The yellow button down here toggles the joystick between left and right joystick.
Oh my gosh,
that's
awful.
That's so impossibly hard. Like I think he's actually started playing Elden Ring now. But like this, yeah, come on, this is awesome. Yes, I have this exact controller for Savannah, and she doesn't like playing with it. She'll throw it on the ground and grab my controller.
Oh, my kids love it. I got it specifically because I would play games and they would grab my controller, so I got that specifically for them.
I mean, that's
and
just hilarious.
It's wonderful.
This is just another one of those
crazy.
Hope in humanity. That toggles the joystick. That's insane.
Wow.
Also, if you want a good nerdy site, Polygon. Much better than Screen Rant. So there you go. Those are all the articles I have for you today. I've got 2 jokes. I thought in honors of Mother's Day we'd do some abortion jokes. So here's a Babylon Bee article. Kentaji Brown Jackson up all night reading biology textbooks, trying to figure out what everyone means by women's right to abortion. Because when she was asked in her confirmation hearing if she could define a woman, she said, "No, I can't. I'm not a biologist." That's why it's funny, in case you don't know. And with the whole Roe v. Wade thing, she needs to know what a woman is, right? I'd assume. Here's a good one, though. Progressives dust off "My Body, My Choice" sign that they put in storage at the beginning of the pandemic. So those are some fun jokes. What a great note to end it on. Let's talk about Moon Knight.
Moon Knight was okay.
I didn't like it.
It was very clunky. Didn't really come together how I had hoped. But I still think it is the best Disney Marvel TV show that they have made. Period. After Doctor Strange, WandaVerse is WandaVision is a little bit redeemed, but I still think like we already talked about, the Agatha all along stuff was ridiculous. It didn't make sense. But yeah, it was a little bit clunky. Didn't come together like I had hoped. But there were a couple cool scenes, and as a whole, Moon Knight is definitely the best show that they made so far. Not the best Marvel show, the best Disney Marvel show.
Yeah, excluding
the Daredevil verse.
It's probably better than Iron Fist.
That's true. And the second season of Jessica Jones.
Daredevil is go. It devolved into your run of the mill Marvel fodder.
Yeah.
But I thought it went. So if we're talking run of the mill, until the post credit scene, I would have rated it at like a C minus. But the post credit scene put it up to a B for me.
But it still doesn't make sense.
I think it makes sense.
It doesn't. I agree with you. The post-credit scene was cool, but it doesn't fix the problem that I had with the finale with him. Okay, so the finale, he's about to kill Harrow, right? But then he says, no, I'm not going to kill Harrow. I want Khonshu to release me. I don't want to be a superhero anymore. And he says, okay, fine, that was the deal. And then he teleports back to his bedroom.
Yeah, that part doesn't
where he's chained up and there's sand, which implies, oh no, there's a third personality, which we already knew from so many times before, right? And the character himself knew, there's a third personality. And then the after credit scene shows, Khonshu is actually still using him to be a superhero. He's just using the third personality. And he uses him to kill Harrow, to break Harrow out of the insane asylum and assassinate Harrow. But that also implies that he relinquishes his superhero powers, blacks out, turns into who's the third personality?
Jake
Lockley. He uses Jake Lockley to take Harrow to an insane asylum and have him committed, and then have everyone go home, who knows where the wife is, and then tie himself up to a bed and sprinkle sand around the bed.
No.
And then after that, he uses Jake Lockley to break Harrow out of an insane asylum and assassinate him.
No, we don't know how he got there, and you're right. It is clunky. It doesn't make sense how they wake
why
up in the bed
didn't he
there.
use him then to kill Harrow?
No, it's not Jake Lockley that chained himself up. The reason why they're chained up in the bed is because they are fearful.
And why did they
that there
wake
might
up
be another personality?
surprised?
Yeah.
I don't know what either of you. I heard what David said. I don't know what you just said, Alan.
But he said, why did they wake up surprised, not knowing that they were chained up? Because they did the same thing where he trips over it.
It's like
if they already knew, if they chained themselves up, then why did it happen? Why were they surprised?
Because
I don't know.
That they were.
To be honest, I kind of felt like they just like the gods had a magical power that teleported him there. I was like, oh yeah, okay, you're in your bed now. Because it didn't make much sense otherwise.
I agree. That part that he was chained up didn't make a lot of sense. But the post-credit scene, I think, does make sense. It's not necessarily the case that the third personality is the one that committed Harrow to the insane asylum.
But they did the same thing they've been doing.
They're done.
They show him black out and then wake up in bed.
No, it didn't do the thing. It's done. It cut. That was it. It didn't say Jake Lockley took over at that moment.
Then it was.
I think that was done. They just. You're right. I agree with you. It was clunky.
No,
but
okay,
I don't
okay.
Yeah.
I need to remember the series of events because if I remember right, you have the two big gods fighting in Egypt.
Right.
The rest of them fighting down there, and then they take Harrow and they put the
They-
god in,
Yeah,
and
they-
then Khonshu leaves, and then isn't there a final scene in the asylum level of Inception?
Yes.
Yes.
You're right.
And it's there where it's kind of that final question of, okay, is the asylum reality or what? And then we get the clues that, okay, psychiatrist Harrow probably is trapped. This
Yes.
is like the gods messing because his feet are bloody. And then
Mhm.
Mark and
Because of
Steven
the-
say, yeah, we'd rather go back to saving the world.
No, that scene implied to me. So he blacks out, goes back into the asylum. That means that Steven and Mark are in the back seat while Jake Lockley is in control.
Hmm.
Yeah,
and
that's
and committing Harrow
that
to
would
an
make
to an
sense,
insane
yeah.
asylum, which he's then going to break him out of and assassinate him. I didn't get it.
No, I don't think it was Jake that put Harrow in the
Then who
insane
did?
asylum.
Because they
I
were
think-
blacked out the whole time.
I think they just all blacked out, and then they were all went
And
their separate ways
Then who put him in an asylum?
because he's crazy.
Who put him there?
Whoever found them.
So they just left him? They just left
Yeah.
him there?
Yeah,
I think
Maybe
they,
it was
crazy.
I
maybe it
think
was
they
the
were all
wife.
left. Maybe it was Layla. Maybe Layla dragged them all out because they were unconscious. The point is we don't know because we weren't shown. And I agree with you. It's confusing and it's clunky and it doesn't make sense. Along with
But-
a couple other parts in this series in the show.
I gotta disagree on this part here because it feels like you don't want to like it for the sake of not liking it because it solves the problem that
I'm
you
just
have
genuinely
where
confused.
you gotta let it
Gotta give it a
handle some
chance.
stuff away. It was wrapping up Stephen and Mark's story, but there was still the question of what was the third personality and stuff. I imagined it was some time passed, and
Exactly.
Yeah,
And-
no, we know that some time passed.
between them being in the asylum, waking up, and being in their apartment, I don't think that was Jake taking over. I think it was, okay, we're back, we're awake now. Like that thought didn't even cross
Exactly.
my mind. But this ending, what I liked was, we have this thing of I kill all these henchmen, but then with the villain, it's like, I know I'm better than you. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to be better. But here, they killed him, and I liked that Khonshu was like, it's funny. He thought like, you don't make demands of a god, and
Okay.
I liked that Khonshu was like, he thought he could get out of it, and the fact that there's a third personality that clearly enjoys the work that they're doing, like that's a cool moment that you gotta
Yeah,
get.
no, I liked that after credits moment. It's just like the logistics just don't make sense to me.
I agree. But the reason why they don't make sense is because they didn't show us everything.
Which is why
It's
it doesn't
not-
make sense.
Right. But it's not an inconsistency
Yeah,
because we don't know. We haven't seen all the blanks.
But that's how they handled it in the past. When he wakes up and things have changed, it meant that a different personality was in the driver's seat. So if you take the context clues from the entire show, it would imply that that's what happened at the end, which is why it confuses me.
You're right. It is confusing. I took it to mean that time had passed. They're back to their normal routine.
Okay,
They're waking up in bed, but they changed themselves up because deep down they might be aware or fear that there is another personality. So
Okay,
they
that-
change
that
themselves
might be-
up.
that might be true, but it's confusing because if
I
you
agree.
follow
I agree.
if you follow the rules they set up, that's not what it meant, or that. But
I think it's intent. Like I think David put it good. Like they intentionally
It's intentionally
didn't give us all the
ambiguous.
information.
Yeah.
Like they still want us to be confused because that's the tone they were going for, not like a logical inconsistency like in Doctor Strange where they just stand there
okay,
when
sure.
a witch is coming to kill them, which is
Okay.
that's where I disagree with you.
Then we can agree that it was confusing.
Yes.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we talk about some of the other issues with this episode?
Yeah, Layla's the worst.
Layla is the worst, and apparently is a super fast lightning ninja.
So it starts off, and she's hiding behind a pillar.
Yeah,
And he's already told his men multiple times, "Hey, there's someone else. Go look for that other person." But she just gets away with hiding behind a pillar, and then she stabs the guy, and it shows Harrow sense that something's off, and he still doesn't do anything about it.
yeah.
He just goes on, and then
not only that, she finds the scarab.
He gets away, but he leaves for some reason. He leaves the scarab behind, even though he knows there's someone still there. He knows Layla's still there. So she gets the scarab, and then that scene implies, hey, they've gotten away, but she can use the scarab to track down the statue of Amit.
Exactly.
And then the next scene, she's just in the
truck.
back of one of their Jeeps.
She's already there
and
in disguise.
with her face covered, and no one noticed.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Not only that, but she didn't even need to be there in the first place because she doesn't do anything.
Yeah, she could have.
She
could have been tailing them safely. She could have stolen the car and followed closely behind, but not directly in danger.
And she still could have had that weird conversation with the corpse after the fact. Everyone's killed. They're lying on the ground. She's like, "What the crap happened here?"
And then the conversation with this corpse doesn't make any sense.
I agree.
The timeline is completely broken. Okay, so if you go back to the previous episode.
I don't think they're happening in sync, but yeah.
Okay. But the previous episode, Stephen and Mark are on the boat with Hippo Lady, and the moment that she changes her mind is when she sees souls that Harrow starts killing. And there's a bunch of souls falling down from the sky. They're being judged before their time. Okay, I will help you escape. And then she's talking to Layla before that happens.
No, because you just had them. Well, it wasn't.
He killed like 5 guys.
Yeah, you're right. It was not.
If you're saying that
was not.
If you're saying that the hundreds of souls that were falling from the sky are the 5 guards that he killed, that doesn't make sense.
It wasn't hundreds of souls.
It was a lot.
But you're right. It was a lot more than 5 guards.
And then she's having a conversation with Layla about a conversation that she had with Mark that she didn't have.
She did have, because they're not happening at the same time. That
Mark's
moment
not separated from her, but it's like I don't know.
I agree with you. It wasn't very very well done because it didn't establish that there were more than 10 or 15 guards there. But it's my assumption, and apparently Tanner's as well, that moment where all the souls were being judged prematurely was that time when
the guards were
judged all those guards. Yeah. That's the same moment.
Was the start.
Exactly. That was the start of it. But you're right. The scale is off. It does not show the same scale of people that were judged and went up or whatever coming down to change your mind. Also,
that's a good point. The fertility goddess is the Hippo Lady. She's guiding souls in the afterlife. That's supposed to be Anubis's job.
Yeah.
Amit's job has never been to judge the scales. Amit consumes the souls that Anubis judges with the scales.
And that was a fan theory that we talked about last week.
And it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it didn't go anywhere. And it would have been so cool if Harrow wasn't really Amit. Harrow wasn't working for Amit. It was Amit's avatar or whatever, but he was really Anubis. Because Anubis is really the one that's supposed to judge the scales. And even on the boat,
and that would explain
the scale
why
on the boat had Anubis on the thing. And he was just deceiving everybody.
It could be intentional that there's going to be Anubis in the future.
True.
Or it could be that the showrunner who complains about Egyptian appropriation doesn't know anything about Egypt.
That could be the case as well.
Maybe it's on purpose. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. It sounds like he's making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. I want to talk about this Hippo Lady, Tirawet or whatever her name is.
Tirawet.
Yeah.
Tarawet.
Tiarawet, whatever. So to me, her motivations are so fickle.
Yeah.
Like she's like she doesn't make any sense. She's like, okay, we're on this boat. You got to weigh your souls or whatever, balance your scales. But now all these people are dying, so now I'm going to help you, and we're going to go back but you still have to balance your scales for some reason. And then when they do balance the scales, which the reason why they balance the scales is
Or
weird
because they
in the
came
first
to an
place.
accord, but there's still a third
But there's
personality.
still a third
so why would there
personality,
still
so why
be-
are they balanced? Exactly. But so they're balanced, right? And then she drops him off at the field of reeds, and he's like, "Hey, you're at the field of reeds. You can just chill." They're like, "Yeah, but you just
She
agreed
just
to go
said
save
we
you.
need to go
So
stop
why are
on-
you saving? You should stay at the field of reeds."
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. And then she's like at that point, apparently she's talking to Layla, saying, "Hey, you need to free Khonshu," but she's saying that he should stay at the field of reeds. But then she said, "Okay, you can go, but why are you going if you don't know what you're doing?" And then she saves him from a wave of sand, which with the boat, so he could escape. And
Yeah.
it was really
I
really.
don't
weird.
know how the boat stopped that tidal wave.
Exactly. Well, I don't know how sand acts like a wave in the first place,
It's
but
it's the afterlife. It's afterlife.
but yeah, if the boat crashes through the wave, it's not going to stop the wave. The
Yeah.
wave is going to
If-
keep going.
The finale also made a point to continuously cut away from the action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hamill shows up and Harrow, shows up and kills all the avatars. There were like 5 of them or 4 of them, and he kills them all.
Yeah.
And it cuts away. And a side note, when the avatar is talking to the girl whose name I already forgot, Layla, who's the worst. She's talking to Layla. How are we going to stop him? He says, "Well, we don't have enough avatars to stop him." Well, the 4 that you had didn't do a good job either.
Yeah.
But then they specifically say, she says, "I don't know how to stop him," and he says, "There's a spell that you can do to put him in the body," and she says, "I don't know how to do that spell. You got to tell me." And then he dies, and then at the end of the show, they do the
both
spell
just do the spell.
that she
Yeah.
specifically said she didn't know how to do.
Exactly. That's
So-
another thing I wrote down.
But the goddess that she was the avatar for.
Oh, okay.
Would the
So why does
the
Mark know the
Egyptian
spell?
gods know the ancient Egyptian spell to entomb the
Yeah.
other gods?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
they would.
That's explained. Good. I was wrong. That's one.
But the other thing that I thought was funny is that, like, so first off, I think they're doing some censoring, right?
But
so
they
they're trying to
that's right.
trying
They
to
could
cut
have at
out
least
all
had
the
a scene
violence.
where she says, "I don't know how to do it," and the tarot says, "I will show you how."
Right.
Maybe,
Go
yeah.
on.
But
Yeah.
but first, I think they're doing a lot of censoring when they do this cutting
Yeah.
away from all the action. For
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Secondly, though, I think it's interesting because they literally like
It would have been the
say that-
perfect moment to introduce Jake Lockley, and they cut away from the interesting part of the fight. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely could have been.
Yeah.
But then I thought it was funny too that literally she knows exactly where to go to get this idol. I was like, oh, well, she got there quick. Shoot.
Well,
Like,
everyone knows what the inside of the Giza pyramid looks like. I mean,
Oh,
Steven
okay.
recognized it immediately.
Yeah. Right.
So everyone would know where the statues are. So.
yeah, so I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, she just knows exactly where she's going to get this stone statue
Yeah.
and break him free.
Also, the part where she agrees to be Hippo Lady God's avatar, to me, was so disrespectful. Like she's having this conversation with herself, not with herself, but she's acting both parts.
Right. She's
And-
getting possessed by the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's just like, "Oh, I saw your father. She would be so proud." My father? You see, it's just like they're bringing up like this heavy point, like she lost her father, and it's like this lighthearted. "Oh, I met your father. It's gonna be so nice," and it was quirky. It was out of place, and I thought it was very disrespectful. Her costume was cool.
The quirky sidekick character role was filled by that goddess. That's
Yeah,
definitely
for sure.
And
that's fine. That's fine. But that dialogue right there, it's like it's
Not
a
the
heavy
place for it.
moment.
Not the
It's a
place
heavy
for it.
moment, and it's not the place for it. Exactly. They tried to work it off as a joke, and just the dialogue was just like cringy, and it's like
Also, in that same
this is
scene,
not funny.
Harrow gives his men another order to go, "Hey, go look for Layla," and they don't do anything. But at this point, that's just par for the course.
Yeah.
So
Like someone else is here, and then
they don't.
Forget
She's
about
just
it.
still wandering around.
Yep.
like just around the corner from where they are, and no one's looking for her.
Yeah.
And then the action when they didn't cut away from it was kind of unintelligible. There were so many cuts. It was just
There were
super
a couple.
sloppy.
There were a couple shots that were really cool.
There was
Like-
one shot that thought it was cool when he jumps over the car and goes wee, but the physics made no sense and it looked ridiculous.
Yeah, that was okay. The shot that I really liked though was when Steven had the little baton and he
That
threw
was a
it
good
at the
shot.
guy.
That was a
and then
really
it
good
cut,
shot.
And then Moon Knight character caught it. That was really
Yes.
cool.
That was
And
a
then
really
the
good
fact
shot.
that they keep switching back and forth. He punches him through a wall, and then Moon Knight comes back, and then the Mr. Knight character comes. I thought that was really cool. But you're right. Most of it just kind of devolved into just uninspired meh action. Also, Moon Knight can fly now. They fly now.
No, because he's the god of the night sky. That
I
explains
know. I just thought it was funny because
No,
That's
that's a good
Oscar
They fly.
Isaac and
Call
they
back.
fly now.
But also,
Um,
how does being the god of the night sky make him fly?
yeah, exactly. It's like it's never been established before. It's like okay, cool, but
Yeah. And then he decides
guess.
not to kill the guy that's just murdered a bunch of people.
yeah, and that was the other thing too, because they seem to be okay with the plan. They're gonna bind him in the body to deal with him while he's in the body. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Like, I don't understand. They're like, let's go do the plan. Oh, let's not do the plan. Let's not kill him. We can't kill him.
It was, as CinemaSins would say, the power of boners. Because Layla was obviously very much like trying to tell Mark, hey, I'm not cool with how you're doing things. And Mark is like, well, I got to kill people. And so then I think the Khonshu and Mark make the plan, right?
Yeah.
And so then when he's there, but Layla's like, oh, Mark, no. He's like, bring.
No, but
Okay.
But Khonshu was telling the plan to Layla, and she's cool with it up until the moment where they're trying to take care of business. I don't know. It just seemed weird. Also, Amit got big, ginormous kaiju size because she's getting all these souls fed to her, and then all of a sudden Khonshu is like,
too.
"What's up? I'm the same size. Let's duke it out."
Well, see, I think there's actually a lot of hidden meaning behind that. I think that Khonshu devoured half of those souls so that he could be big.
There you go.
Because he's willing to do whatever it takes to stop Amit. So he's a dark character.
Good character defining.
That's why he's big. That's going to be revealed in season 2. They're going to be talking, and he's going to be like, wait, Khonshu, how did you get big? He's like, I ate half of the souls. And he's like, well, I can't work for someone who I can't trust. And it's just going to do the same, plot point as,
Yeah, there you go.
Character progression. Just do the same thing over and over.
I like it.
It was just mediocre. I didn't hate it. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I thought it was cool that they did
better than Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Anything's better than Falcon and Winter Soldier. I did like how they did the switch one more time. Because at the very first we're following Steven and we're cutting out everything from Mark, and then later we had an episode with Mark and we're cutting out Steven.
Which
this was cool.
Fantastic.
This was cool too. They did the same thing again, and it's still fresh because it's the third character. It's like, oh my gosh, he just took care of business, and all.
Except that it cut away from the action, but the action wasn't that exciting anyway.
But
so
I think in that case, it's justifiable because there's a precedent for that before.
Yeah,
I agree that cutting away from Harrow, killing all those avatars when he doesn't have avatar powers, he just has a magical staff.
Well, he's an avatar now. He's Amit's avatar.
Not at that point. That's before he released Amit. He's going to get the Amit's. No, wait, hold on.
Are you talking about the finale, or are you talking about the episode 1?
In the finale, he goes to the pyramids of Giza and he confronts all the avatars. He didn't break Amit's statue at that point, did he?
Yeah, he shows up, kills all the avatars, and then breaks the statue.
Right.
Why didn't he do that earlier?
Exactly. But also, he wasn't the avatar yet. Why didn't he just had the magical...
In the previous episode, when he got it, he could have just snapped it right there. Why did he need to go to the place?
Yeah, but also, all of these avatars, it showed their eyes. The gods were in control. And so he beats, 4 or 5 Egyptian gods
Yeah.
and he's not an avatar at that point. He just has the magical judgment axe staff.
If he was smart, he would have been. He would have broken it all out earlier.
Right. It would have been an element of surprise. He's like, well, what are you doing here? You're nobody. And he's like, I'm at whatever. And then you do a big battle, whatever. I don't know. I agree. They shouldn't have cut away from that. But I liked when they cut away in the final fight scene when Jake Lockley took over. Although right before that, there was the guy that was shooting a machine gun right at Layla's scarab arms or whatever. She was like cowered in the corner. He's like 2 inches away from her firing this machine gun. It's like,
why don't you just go up and hit her or do something else?
Yeah, but also
I love that Layla just immediately knows how to use her powers too.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But yeah, it's clunky. Also, it was weird that he said at the end that they decided to go save the world, right? No, we're gonna go save the world, but you just gave up your Khonshu powers. You said you didn't want to do that anymore. So what are you going back to save the world for?
They didn't want to be manipulated or something.
I think
he's like, I want to go be back and get back to my life, He's like, no, I'm gonna go save the world.
I think maybe originally that part was intended to come earlier.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because again, the continuity of them blacking out and then waking up, have one more final thing in the asylum where Hera's feet bleed because of the glass that they put in from the very first episode that they forgot about. And then he wakes up in his bed. That would make sense if that was supposed to be somewhere else. throw that comment out. That's great.
The fertility goddess?
Yeah. The fertility goddess should be fertilizing people.
That was one thing.
Okay. Yeah. Why wasn't there a love scene in this? Like, come on.
No, I was bummed.
They probably just cut away from it.
Yeah.
I was bummed that she got. It looked like her armor was based more on Horus.
Yeah.
Rather than, I was like, it'd be so cool to have a hippo-themed superhero. That would be tight.
She when she transforms, she just like gets really fat.
They could do some cool Brandon Sanderson Furushimi or whatever. He could increase the weight of
Farakimi, yeah.
I
would have loved to see like the armor from like Dark Souls. There's this character who's just like in this armor this just like rolls. It's so great.
Yeah. No, but that is weird because Moon Knight is kind of like bandaged up like a mummy, kind of like Khonshu is, and then she turns into a scarab because she's got the scarab, so she's got scarab wings and she's got a little scarab pendant on her chest or whatever. But yeah, she was the hippo avatar, but then she turns into a scarab. So because reasons. It was a cool costume though.
I did like it. I was just disappointed that it wasn't a hippo.
She should have looked like this.
Yes.
That would have been great.
Dark Souls figure is kind of cute. It's like the Michelin Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah. No, this is one of the best characters in Dark Souls too. So.
Cool beans. It's late.
Yeah, it's late. Yeah, I don't really have anything. I'm just not super passionate about Moon Knight. I didn't hate it. It just felt sloppy, and I don't really care enough about it to like tear a new one.
I enjoyed watching it though. I mean, but it wasn't bad.
Like I said, I still think it's the best Marvel show that Disney has made. The finale just kind of had too many holes. Didn't quite make sense. A little bit clunky and discombobulated. But as a whole, I enjoyed the series.
I like that last scene. I like that it was like, I thought that was a good bookend. That was a good.
The last scene was good. it fixed some things and it made things more confusing for me, but we've already talked about that in nauseam. Does anyone watch Strange New World? That's the Star Trek one. No, we've had this discussion. I can't watch new Star Trek. I've tried. I just
What's your verdict, Jared?
Jared.
I'm interested to see where it takes it. I think it's.
I saw some screenshots of Spock, and he looked ridiculous, and that's the extent of my knowledge.
So is it a retelling then, or is it a alternate universe, or what is it?
It's telling it. So it's Pike. It's Captain Pike. But yeah, like that's the thing. Like I'm like,
It's a
wait,
prequel. It's a prequel to Spock and Kirk, but they're in it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting.
It's their origin story.
Is that it kind of feels like they are introducing Kirk because there's a little bit of, I think Kirk's dad is in it and things like that, and so it kind of feels like these are characters that you should know if you've watched a lot of the other Star Treks, but at the same time I'm like, wait, like I don't remember who this is.
Yeah.
So I think it is a prequel though.
Yeah. I haven't watched it. Sorry, I can't talk about it.
It's not bad. I
Outer
enjoyed watching it.
Outer Range, though, I don't even think we need to discuss it. I'll just say I was right, and it's good. Watch it. Watch Outer Range.
I got a couple.
It's okay.
To watch still.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't watched the last two this season.
it's a spicy.
It's
I
okay.
I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm still trepidatious. I think it's one of those shows that tries to be artsy, for the sake of being artsy, and tries to be mysterious just for the sake of having a mystery that they don't necessarily answer. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's a hard line to walk. I think Walking Dead did this all the time. There was just some episodes of The Walking Dead that were completely different, and they're like, "Oh, we're just trying to do some like artsy cinematography, and this is like weird, and we're doing it just to do it." And I don't know. I talked about last time about how a lot of sci-fi shows just get really, really weird, and they don't offer explanations for it. Like by comparison, this Outer Range show is a whole lot less weird than Raised by Wolves, right? Raised by Wolves is like super, super weird, but it pays off the weird. It answers the weird. It gives you reasons why it's weird. And I feel like so far Outer Range it's the level of weirdness. It's not, I don't know, justified it in my mind. And again, I haven't watched the last two episodes, but it just seems like one of these shows that it's interesting, but I don't feel like it's going to pay off. I don't know. That's just me. I've been burned by too many sci-fi shows.
I enjoyed the finale. It brings up a lot of questions, though. Like I don't know if they answered enough with the finale, but I still enjoyed it. And after sitting on it, I was like, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I'll keep watching it. It's just I've been burned by way too many of these shows that looked good. They have a good premise, but they just get weird and they don't answer questions about what is happening. So I don't know. I'm excited to get back into Raised by Wolves though, because
Raised by
Wolves. Show.
It's a good show. It's a good show. Jacob Ironside, are you making this up, or is this what they actually say in the show?
No, I think it was
world. Really?
Yeah.
That started World War III
on January 6th.
Yeah, I think so. I think they stated something about that, but I don't remember the specific date. But I do remember them talking about World War III.
You guys know that right before January 6th, Antifa raided the Capitol and did a lot more damage.
I'm gonna need to go if we're getting into this.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think, and we're already on the.
That's not what this show is, and I think I'm in a stance that would disagree with most of you, and I'm not in a mood to do it calmly and rationally.
That's fine.
And I want to be nice, but I and also I would like to be studied up on it if we're going to do a political discussion.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Which could be
I didn't watch an analysis of the January 6th Capitol protests and insurrections.
Yeah.
This week I watched Marvel movies.
I watched Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's trial because for some reason I can't stop watching that crap.
That's entertaining. They show footage of it. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm not watching Strange New World, so yeah, this has been fun. Do we want to do next week Raised by Wolves season 2 then? Episode 1? Are you
Sure.
ready? You've rested your haunches,
I'm ready to get
your
back in.
laurels.
Let's do it.
Okay. So we're starting Raised by Wolves season 2, episode 1 next week. I'm
All right.
very excited. Yeah. I'm tired. So I love talking to you guys though. It's been a blast. If you want to have a political discussion in the future, we could have a different show called I talk about politics with Tanner or something.
I'm not ready for it. But yeah, and also let's not do that. I think I don't want to put it on the internet. I think if we get together and it comes up organically, I'm happy to engage in that conversation with you. But I don't want this going out on the internet in case I accidentally say something and then I'm applying for jobs and people are like, "Well, you said this on YouTube. How do we know you're not going to try and indoctrinate our kids?" Because
we had a very fun conversation about the state of education, though. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So have a good night. We'll be back talking about Raised by Wolves next week, and I think that's it for next week. There's nothing else because all these other shows are.
I think picking one thing
Yeah.
to talk about is a good idea instead of trying.
I think so too. These have
Yeah.
been getting longer and longer, especially with you having like 12 Screen Rant articles minimum every
can't help
single week.
They're dumb.
It's
Save
a
'em.
fun segment.
Yeah. All right. Well, see you guys. It's been a blast. Love you. Be safe and don't start any insurrections. Bye. Bye. Oh, damn.